All right. Hello, friends, and welcome to some more 14 Days with You. This is, our second recording for this. And so I had a couple of updates that I wanted to say because I've learned a couple of new things about this game since the last time that we played. The biggest one that I can think of is that I was looking into just I guess the fandom on Tumblr in general, the Tumblr posts and things. And one thing that I did find about this is that the creator actually said that they have created Ren, the love interest of this, to be not quite as yandere as I was expecting him to be. That if you play through like the good route of the game, he is a little bit more normal. And that kind of goes against my plans for this series because I was playing this game solely to see whether or not I could like a yandere character. So that's fun and interesting, but I'm still gonna play it because I'm still feeling kind of neutral about it. I'm not sure whether I like it or not. And listen, it's been on my Tumblr, the algorithm, the For You page, for long enough that I feel like I should play it anyway. And if I had another update to tell you, I don't remember it. It's been a while since the last time that I played. Anyway, let's hop into day 3 and let's see what happens. The unusual sounds of city life and traffic pull me away from my slumber, and I wake to the sight of an unfamiliar ceiling. This wasn't my bedroom, and this certainly wasn't my bed. Last I checked, my duvets were a patterned purple, a housewarming gift from Violet when I first moved into my apartment, not this dark shade of black. Ooh, interesting. Confused, I rub the sleep from my eyes in order to fully take in the rest of the room. And just like that, memories from yesterday come flooding back. Oh, right. Ren offered to let me stay the night due to the freak storm that swept over Corlin Bay. It was sweet of him to do so, and it had me wondering where he was right now. Was he still fast asleep? Or perhaps he was already awake? Deciding there's no time like the present to find out, I stretch out the knots in my body, wake myself up fully, and jump out of bed. As soon as I walk out into the hallway, the mouth-watering scent of something sweet and sugary greets me, and it almost has my feet floating towards the kitchen. Curiosity, or perhaps hunger, takes over my body, and before I know it, I find myself navigating through the maze of Ren's stupidly large apartment. Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear. There, Ren stands in his kitchen, hunched over the stove with a spatula in one hand and what looks to be a recipe pulled up on his phone in the other. He doesn't seem to notice my presence yet, so I take the opportunity to study him a little bit more. And although I could only see most of his backside and side profile, I could easily make out the concentrated look on his face as his gaze flits back and forth between his phone and the pan. But just when I think he's about to turn around, Ren lets out a surprised noise and immediately lifts the pan from the stove. Geez. Sniffing the air, the smell of something burning invades my nostrils and has me retreating back into the living space for some fresh air. Wow. Did Ren really manage to burn a pancake? Or maybe he just wasn't that confident in cooking. Regardless, seeing him put so much effort into something so trivial did manage to pull at my heartstrings. Deciding I've had my fill of watching Ren, I finally make myself known. Hey. Stepping a bit closer, I wait until Ren turns around to scrape the burnt remnants of pancake into the bin before calling out to him. Ren, get it? Don't stutter that many times with my name. How long have you been awake? Despite his flustered outburst, Ren doesn't seem to move away from the stove. Good morning, Kit. I was going to surprise you with breakfast in bed. Sorry, did I take too long? It was like I flicked an invisible switch because all of a sudden Ren was back to the usual timid personality that I'd grown to know. You don't have to go through all that trouble for me. It's fine, I really wanted to. Really, here. Without giving me a second to spare, Ren conjures up a plate full of thick, fluffy pancakes from somewhere behind him, alongside a few toppings as well. Okay, so you only burnt the one. Listen, could be redeemed. Maybe he was focusing on something else, wasn't paying attention, just burnt the one. I didn't manage to burn these ones, at least. Eat as much as you'd like. I'll have this one. He gestures to the burnt pancake still stuck to the frying pan. No amount of washing and scrubbing would restore that pan to its former glory. Giving Ren a pitiful look, I deposit a few fluffy pancakes onto my own plate before offering the rest to him as well. Ren, you've made enough to feed an army. Why don't we share? It's okay, I made them all for you, exactly how you like them. And how do you know how I like my pancakes? Is there a certain way that you can like a pancake? Cooked? Deciding to tease him a little, I throw the light-hearted accusation into the air and hope that he'll catch it. Huh? Oh, I don't. I suppose... Don't people normally enjoy pancakes this way? I thought maybe... There he goes again, getting flustered beyond belief while his cheeks flush a deep shade of red. It was pretty adorable. Relax, I'm only teasing you. These pancakes are delicious, by the way. At some point I've apparently eaten a bite. Oh, you were just joking. His mood immediately seems to perk up once he hears my compliment. You like them? Really? You're not lying? Then I'll make them again for you sometime. Only if you want, that is. It's no problem at all. I really don't mind. How about you just focus on eating first? Aren't you hungry? I snacked on a few pancakes while cooking them. Don't worry about me. You just eat. Do you want some different toppings? I've got more strawberries in the fridge. Something inside me told me that Ren was lying. Really? But I didn't feel like calling him out on it. I'm good for now, but thank you, really. Seemingly satisfied with my response, or lack thereof, Ren lets out a pleased hum and instead moves away to busy himself with washing the dishes. My gaze follows him, and I absent-mindedly catch a glimpse at the clock on one of the shelves. 8 o'clock on the dot. Damn, that's early. Wait a second, 8 o'clock? I was going to be late for work. As if picking up on my panicked behavior, Ren halts his movements and sends me a curious glance. Crap, I'm going to be late for work again if I don't leave now. I still need to walk home and get changed and... Hey, it's okay, Kit. Calm down. Look, your clothes from yesterday are washed and dry. Why don't you change into them, and when you're ready, I can drop you off at work? Ren. There I go again, relying on this enigma of a man and taking up too much of his kind hospitality. He does not mind. I was already overstaying my welcome by using his dryer and sleeping in his spare bed, but now here I was, eating his food and being exactly 5 minutes away from getting a lift in his car. He really should be the one being called Angel instead of me. Thank you so much, I owe you my entire life. And I thought I was dramatic. Another date with you will do just fine. Simp. His soft smile is the last thing I see before I head back into the guest bedroom to change. But before I can make it 3 feet away, Ren's voice calls out to me once more. Oh, but I should warn you, I don't exactly drive a car. What does that mean? Do you fly the car? Oh. Turns out Ren didn't actually own a car like I expected. He owned a dang sports motorcycle. I just remember there's social media in this game. Sorry, I love it so much. I have to check it every 5 seconds. Violets are not blue. I'm not me without my coffee. Did you? You got further. You used to be like, and now you're in love. Congrats. Lots to do today. Maple found the treats again. Why is the hospital so busy today? I'm too cute to reject, Delulu. Anyway, okay. I just like checking it. All black, sleek, and scary, but what surprised me the most were the faded "Always With You" sticker decals that adorn the tank. So Ren was a fan of that webcomic as well. I always assumed the community was rather small, there wasn't much talk about the webcomic online, so it was nice to know someone else enjoyed it as much as I did. But just as I was about to bring the topic up, my vision goes dark as Ren places a helmet over my head with a smile. He fastens and adjusts the strap before motioning towards the back of his bike with an expectant look. Admittedly, I was a bit hesitant to hop on that thing. Sorry. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. No, I know exactly why that made me laugh so much. I'm normal, okay. But Ren assured me that he'd tell me what to do and keep me safe the entire time. Thank you. Oh no, I have the giggles now. Daunting, couldn't even begin to describe how I felt when the engine turned on, and I was certain Ren had scratch marks with how tightly I was clinging to him, but I somehow came out of it unscathed. Maybe I need to take a break. Okay, sorry. I think it was just the fact that it was so sudden, it just suddenly jumped out at me, and that I wouldn't normally think like that just made me laugh even harder about it. Anyway, I even managed to bag myself a nice warm hoodie that smelled like Ren, even if its only purpose was to protect me from the wind and flying debris. And when we parted in front of the library with a friendly goodbye, Ren waited until I was inside the building before taking off. But I barely make it 3 feet inside before a mess of blonde hair enters my field of view and almost knocks me over. Okay, what are we doing? Kit, there you are. Quick, I need your help. Eleanor's anxious demeanor catches me off guard, and I immediately do a sweep of the library for anything out of place. But I'm hardly given any time to take in my surroundings before Eleanor reaches for my arm and all but drags me behind the reception counter and towards a mountain of paperwork. Oh. Stacks upon stacks of books, files, newspapers, and manila folders covered the entire expanse of their desk, and for the briefest moment, it almost resembled a messy archive repository rather than her workstation. What's all this? This was supposed to be sorted out yesterday. I swear I did it already. In fact, I know I did. I remember leaving it all in Conan's office before I left work yesterday, so you can imagine my surprise when I saw it back on my desk this morning. Eleanor seems genuinely concerned, especially with how she's been flitting about and pacing back and forth in front of me. It was almost like she'd seen a ghost, and if I didn't know any better, I honestly would have believed it. Please help me. If Conan finds out I somehow messed up again, I don't know what will happen. Hey, don't worry, Elle, I'll help. And I doubt Conan will get mad, you know how he is. I suppose you're right. Her shoulders seem to visibly relax at my words, and she slumps into her chair with a heavy sigh. Thank you so much, Kit. Do you think you can manage the stack of books? I'll handle all the files. Without missing a beat, lest our boss magically appears somewhere behind us, we immediately get to work. Time flies by quickly when I have my chatty coworker to keep me company. She fills me in on how the freak storm caught everyone off guard, and how some of the patrons shared the same idea of seeking refuge within the library as well. Apparently Eleanor was the only one around to keep an eye on things, and from the sounds of it, she seemed to take on the leadership role like a pro. Still, discussing her whereabouts had me thinking. That reminds me, where did you go the other day? The other day? What do you mean? You remember Ren, the pink-haired guy? Huh? Oh, Loverboy. Yeah, him. After we had that conversation with Ren, I never saw you afterwards. Oh? Huh. Let me think. I watch as she inclines her head to the side to think, and all too quickly she snaps her fingers and gives me an affirmative nod. Oh, that's right. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, but I ended up going home early. I must have accidentally bumped into something while cleaning the stockroom the other day, and before I knew it, one of the shelves came tumbling down on me. It wasn't until a little while later when Conan found me and pulled me out. You knocked over an entire shelf? Miss Creston. Knowing I was only teasing, Eleanor sends me a sheepish smile and bows her head to hide her reddening cheeks. But now that I think about it, the shelves in the stockroom had always seemed relatively stable to me. My coworker wasn't known for her strength, so it didn't make much sense for it to topple over that easily. But thankfully, Eleanor elaborates more, almost as if she could hear the gears in my head working overtime. Well, I suppose it was a tad bit odd. I mean, I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now, and not once have I heard so much as a creak from those shelves. It does seem strange, yeah? Well, I have no doubt Conan will be installing new storage shelves soon. Oh, speaking of, did you notice the new awnings outside the library? I suppose that sudden storm from yesterday had something to do with it. In fact, oh, maybe you heard it on the news recently. I heard that all the rain. Our conversation gets cut short as I watch Eleanor's attention drift behind me and towards the flashing red light above one of the shelves. Duty calls, I guess. As soon as she stands, I shoot her an appreciative smile, which she returns with an apologetic one of her own, and meanders her way towards the aisle. Now left to my own devices, I go back to sorting through the books and putting them into separate piles. I manage to get a solid 10 minutes to myself before the sudden sense of unease creeps up on me, okay? It felt as though someone was watching me, so I take a curious sweep across the vicinity to try and locate the source. But nothing seemed out of ordinary. People were studying, others were quietly typing away at computers, and I could even spot the back of Eleanor's head from her spot near the fantasy fiction aisle. Nothing was out of place, yet that unnerving feeling of having eyes on the back of my head still lingered. In fact, now that I thought about it, it was eerily similar to the feeling I got when I was walking home a few days ago. Violet's words about someone breaking into my apartment echo in my mind before it all suddenly dawns upon me. The supposed person watching me. Could it be somehow linked? No, definitely not. Shaking my head, I try to dismiss those unsettling thoughts before they start to develop into something more sinister. There was no one watching me. After all, there was hardly anything impressive about me to warrant a stalker in the first place. I was as plain as they come, and if some loser really did break into my house, they left empty-handed. That alone clearly proved that I don't own anything worth stealing. Except maybe my limited edition Attack on Giant figurines, but even then. I remember thoroughly inspecting my entire apartment once I got home. Nothing was out of place, nor looked like it had been touched. Everything was as I left it that morning. Yet it still didn't explain why I was feeling this way. Fear and apprehension seemed to overwhelm my senses so much that my mind barely registers the sound of something rustling, and I looked down to see that I had been worrying the papers in my hands for the past few minutes. Have I been stressing out that badly? Geez, I was really letting all this paranoia get the best of me. Shaking my head once more, I decided it's best not to let those thoughts fester and grow into something far bigger than it should be. No one broke into my apartment, and no one was watching me right now. Okay. I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and nothing was going to scare me. Hello? Whoa. Instead of some creepy stalker dressed in all black, I was met with blonde hair and expensive-looking clothing. Was this the person I felt watching me? It was difficult to make out her words over the loud, rapid sounds of my heartbeat, so I tried my best to calm down before responding. Sorry, I didn't notice you come in. Welcome to the Corlin Bay Library. Can I help you with anything? I hope I sounded professional enough, though I'm sure there was still a lingering sense of fear in my words and a facial expression to match. But it starts to dissipate as I take in the woman's appearance. Her green eyes seem oddly familiar to me, but what gives it all away is how the woman slightly inclines her head to the side as she looks over me with concern. Surely not. Was that... I don't suppose... Are you Kiara? Eleanor's told me all about you. in the flesh. I'm actually here to visit my darling sister, would you believe? But now you've piqued my interest. She shoots me a harmless wink and rests her hands atop the reception counter. Wow, even the clanging of her jewelry sounds expensive, and I can't help but look at her in awe. And tell me, what else has Nori said about me? Ooh, she really, really admires you. Oh? Really? When did she say that? It would have been nice to hear it coming from her. Well, I'm sure you're well aware of how shy little Nori can be sometimes. Absolutely, yeah. Kit! As if summoning Eleanor herself, she emerges from somewhere behind me and joins us at the front desk. Kiara, what are you doing here? There she is. What, am I not allowed to see my little sis? I'm at work right now. You could have texted me in advance. But I wanted to surprise you. And look, I come bearing gifts. At that, Kiara places down a few bags branded with high-end prints and designer logos. Sorry, darling. If I knew I'd be meeting you here, I would have brought extra. But I'm sure there's something for you in one of the bags as well. Pick whatever Eleanor doesn't want. I genuinely wish I could be rich enough to say something like that. Anyway. The sisters seem fully engrossed in each other's presence, so I leave them alone so they can have their moment to catch up. After all, I didn't know how long it had been since Eleanor and Kiara had seen each other, and the mountain of work in front of me wasn't going to sort itself out in the meantime. I wish I could speak. But before I can silently slip away and sit back down, a tattooed arm boxes me in and commands my attention, okay? And for the second time today, the expensive smell of wealth and luxury floods my senses. Only this time I knew the person it belonged to. Hello? Dang, who are they? Seemingly out of nowhere, Teo appears with that familiar smirk on his face and an unbothered drawl in his tone. He's absolutely shameless with how his eyes take in both of the sisters' appearances, before he's leaning more of his weight onto his arm and shooting me an expectant look. Don't even think about it, Teo. Trust me, you don't want to know what I'm thinking about right now. Given how he leans even closer to my side with his sultry grin, I end up believing his words. After all, I wouldn't put it past Teo to think up multiple ways to cause a scene in his free time. Not jealous, are you? Why would you even... Whether or not it was my sudden outburst that captures their attention, Eleanor and Kiara finally seem to notice us, and I thank my lucky stars for a chance to escape this conversation. Perhaps I could sneak off to the employees' lounge while everyone was busy talking. I'm sure. You were here too? I've got a few things here you could check out. Ugh. Despite my disgust at Teo's blatant flirting, Eleanor seems to be eating it up with a slight blush on her cheeks. Oh, actually, I'm just visiting. I don't work here, but little Nori over here does. I'm sure she can help you out. Despite her friendly tone, Kiara seems to be passively shutting down Teo's attempts at flirting and redirecting it towards Eleanor instead. I love her. That's so nice. Yet Teo doesn't seem to be picking up on it, of course not. Instead choosing to lean a little more against the counter so that his muscles flex under his form-fitted shirt and crosses his ankles. You're not from around here, are you? I'd remember a face like yours. The name's Theodore, by the way, but cuties like you can call me Teo. Charming. I'm Kiara. And no, I'm only in town for a few weeks. I'm visiting some relatives and finding some inspiration before I head back home. Inspiration, huh? I could show you around. Well, aren't you fun? What about my baby sister? Huh? But I'm older than you. Come on, live a little, Nori. You always tell me how you're holed up at work all the time. I suppose, but... Looks like you're in need of a bit of fun. I can help with that. Have either of you been to the aquarium yet? It opened recently. Not yet, but I'll have to give your offer a pass, I'm afraid. Aquarium's not your style? You're not my style. Oh, let's go. I love her. Ouch. Despite the low blow to his ego, Teo didn't look the least bit offended. In fact, he seems to thrive off of it. Oh. I see. But as if fate felt the urge to intervene, Kiara's phone suddenly goes off and startles everyone. Sorry, give me a sec. I need to take this call. She slips away before any of us can have the chance to respond, and without missing a beat, Teo immediately takes her previous spot besides Eleanor. And what about you? Me? Don't see anyone else around, Princess. Ew. Oh, well, I mean, I think it'd be fun, but I suppose it would be a bit awkward if it's just you and me. You heard her, doll. As if finally acknowledging my presence, Teo turns to me with an expecting look on his face. Why don't you tag along? I'll even see if Leon wishes to join the fun. It'll be like a double date. At that, Eleanor visibly seems to relax a little bit. I spare a quick glance in her direction, and I can pick up on the barest hint of hope in her eyes. Oh no. Wait, she wanted to go on a date with Teo? Yeah, I could tell that. I don't know, Elle. What, got better things to do? Look, I'll pay for everything. I can even pick you up as well if you want. Sound good? Not that I'd ever openly admit it to Teo, but his offer was finally starting to sound tempting. I mean, free food and a free outing? It was too good to refuse, however. I want to say definitely one of these. I don't want to say I'm doing this for Eleanor because that makes it... I don't want to call her out. She seems to be a little bit more of like a shyer character and wouldn't appreciate me being like, yeah, I'm doing this just for her, you know? But she does want me to go, so that's the whole reason why I'm doing it. Only if Leon will be there. That's just not my style personally. I guess I'll say sure, why not? I find myself agreeing with his offer. But before I can regret anything, Teo cuts me off. There we go. Knew you weren't gonna chicken out on us. I'm probably going to leave halfway through, let's be real, but then it's settled. Leon and I will meet you both here tomorrow after work. What time do you finish? Around... There you are, Kit. I didn't realize you were busy. Finally, it's as if someone had heard my prayers this time. Conan emerges from somewhere behind me. What was up with that today? It offers me an escape from the current conversation. And without missing a beat, I turn towards my savior and spare him a thankful glance. I make sure to silently apologize to Eleanor as well, clearly uneasy with the thought of leaving her alone with Teo, but she seems all too happy with how she subtly shoos me away, with a hand behind her back. Sure, I can slip away for a moment. Did you need anything? Just an extra pair of hands to sort through some boxes. But if you're busy, I'll manage it myself. It's fine, I could use a breather. Okay, so perhaps I didn't need to announce that so joyfully. With warm cheeks, I turn back towards Eleanor and Teo to send them one final apologetic look before following after Conan. Apologies for this. I didn't mean to steal you away from your friends. I'm working, Conan. The friends do not matter. This happened to be sorting through all the books a coworker managed to knock over this morning and making sure they were all in the correct category before putting them back on their cart. It felt eerily similar to what I had just been previously doing with Eleanor, only this time there weren't any Teo-shaped annoyances to keep me company. But man, I swear, Conan had to be the only boss who'd be perfectly fine with their employees slacking off to talk with their friends instead. He hadn't said a word about Teo, and possibly Kiara too, depending on how long he'd been standing behind me, and seemed more than okay with us huddling around the reception desk. Deciding not to push my luck, I returned Conan's soft look with one of my own. It's fine, don't worry about it. I've been meaning to ask you something, actually. Has everything been going all right with you? Nothing shady has been happening lately? Oh, many shady things, but what do you mean? You haven't heard the news? There's been a few murders happening in the Bay Area recently. Admittedly, I've been worried for your safety as of late. You live by yourself, correct? Yeah, but I've recently had a friend stay with me. Now that I think about it, he's also been concerned for my safety. That's good. I'm glad. Listen, if something ever happens... Conan awkwardly glances over his shoulder before returning his gaze back to me. Nothing but sincerity stares back, and I find myself in a stunned silence. Here, it's my personal number. I feel like for a... Well, okay. I was gonna say, I feel like for a place like a library where you don't really have a lot of employees, you should probably have your boss's number, but it is also his personal. He could have a work cell phone. But due to the lack of clarification, I ended up sending him a confused look instead of thanking him. I know you've only recently moved back to Corlin Bay, but you've yet to put someone down as your emergency contact. Why do you know that? Oh, I guess in paperwork? I don't know. I'm worried you won't have anyone to call in case something does happen. I want to make sure you're safe at all times. Thank you. Of course. He gives my shoulder a gentle pat before resuming his original task. The conversation falls back into an easy, comfortable silence, and I pocket his number before pouring all of my focus towards the books laid out in front of me. The rest of my shift passes by uneventfully, and at some point Eleanor informs me that Kiara had to leave for a work-related matter and wouldn't be coming back for a few days. Oh, she just got here. She even asked Eleanor to give me her number as well, alongside mentioning something about sharing more embarrassing stories about little Nori the next time we talk. Whatever that meant. Still, it was really nice to finally meet Eleanor's sister, and it was even kinder of her to give me a fountain pen before she left, okay? Or at least I assumed it was Kiara. I found the expensive-looking box sitting on my desk once I returned, and I wasted no time in opening it up and examining the contents. The pen itself appeared to be made from really... Sorry, I'm laughing so much at the second half of the sentence. The pen itself appeared to be made from extremely high-quality materials, and the cursive K+R logo looked rather fancy underneath the light. Gee, I wonder what that means. I made a mental note to get something for Kiara as well, before pocketing the pen next to Conan's number and packing up my belongings for the day. But as I'm slipping out of the library's back door, I notice a familiar broad backside, a patch of blonde hair, and a bright Hawaiian shirt standing near the alleyway's entrance. Okay. Hello, friends. As if sensing my presence, Leon turns around and greets me with one of his familiar warm smiles. G'day, Darl. Been a while. He sends me a toothy grin before making space for me within the group. Eleanor greets me with a delicate wave, and Teo looks moderately annoyed as usual. Teo is just introducing me to Eleanor and yarning on about this little outing he has planned. Hey, how come you never told me you've never been to the aquarium before? Makes sense, though. I reckon it was built a bit after you left the bay, right? So I doubt you had time to check it out. Pretty much. Most of my free time has been taken up with moving and unpacking boxes. I couldn't help but find myself agreeing with his words. It was crazy how Leon seemed to know me so well, even though we hadn't had the chance to speak to each other like this in a while. But I'm curious to see what it's like. What about you, Nori? I couldn't help but let Kiara's nickname for her slip. Oh, yes, I'm the same. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I've never been to an aquarium before, so this should be fun. Well, here's hoping the weather will be more lenient tomorrow. It was pouring down buckets yesterday, wasn't it? Did you make it home all right, Sunfish? All of a sudden, that eerie feeling comes back, and I resist the urge to turn around and look behind me. I only now notice that I've had my back to the dark alleyway this entire time. Kit? I'm sorry, what was that? You alright? You look like you've seen a ghost. I watch as Leon looks behind me before glancing at Teo and Eleanor for what seems like reassurance. No, it's nothing. I guess I've had a long day at work. Nah, I get it. Feeling tired? You should head on home then. Please don't let us keep you longer than we should. Want me to drop you off? Car's out front. As much as I appreciated everyone's concern, I honestly wanted to be left alone right now to clear my head, and going on a walk would surely do me wonders. Besides, it was still somewhat bright out and there were people around, so I had no reason to worry about my non-existent stalker who definitely doesn't exist. I also heard that some new merchandise arrived at the local manga store, which I had been meaning to check out, so that would surely help get my mind off things. It was along my route home anyway. What harm could possibly come from a quick detour? You're gonna spend like hundreds of dollars. If it was me, I can't spend any less than $125 at the bookstore every single time that I go. It's a problem. At that thought, I quickly placate? I've never known how to pronounce that. Everyone's concern before bidding my goodbyes and heading off alone down the street. It wasn't until I got far enough away from the library that the eerie feeling started to dissipate. Ooh, okay. The nostalgic smell of comic books and plastic greets me as I enter the all-too-familiar manga store, and I immediately beeline my way towards the anime aisle. Hold on, I gotta plug in my phone. There we go. I was set on collecting the last remaining accessories for my mini Attack on Giants display, and I wasn't about to let my paranoia get in the way of that. But as I was passing through a few of the aisles, I noticed a familiar shade of pink near the cashier. Is that Ren? Okay. I didn't even notice his motorbike out front, if he even brought it. Up until now, I always assumed he walked everywhere. And even though he was wearing a mask and had his hair tied back, I could easily make out his large and lanky frame anywhere. Sneaking closer, I notice how he appears to be in a hushed conversation with the manager about something confidential, if their closeness was anything to go by, before he places a thick manila envelope into her hands and leans back. Oh? I wonder what's inside. Was Ren trading in some old manga? Oh, what if it's Attack on Giants? Though if it is AOG, then I'm not really sure why he'd want to trade them in. With how popular the franchise is currently, there isn't much of a high demand. If anything, there's too much consumable media being produced right now. Everywhere I go, all I see is Haruko. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Speaking of my beloved Haruko, and now that I got a better look at Ren, isn't that the limited edition spring Haruko hoodie? I was too busy looking at the new tattoo that he has on his neck, to be honest. I've just now noticed it. I thought they weren't selling them anymore. But just as I'm about to make myself known to ask questions, Ren is already turning on his heel and slipping behind the large racks displayed or filled with cosplays and gaming-themed apparel. His height doesn't do him. Oh my god, I can't read. Hold on, I'm itching my nose. His height does him no favors, though, as I watch his head peek out from the top while he bobs and weaves his way towards the side entrance. At that very moment, my phone decides to jump scare me by suddenly going off, and it startles me enough to temporarily forget about Ren. Speaking of phones, hold on, Moth. What's happening? This is not okay. Okay? What does that mean? You just got asked on a date. Lots to do to Dav. Make sure to stay safe, everyone. I'm trying my best. Planning something. Who wants in? Creston 20 for 20% off your item. Where? Okay. Letting out a string of curses, I reach into my back pocket and pull it out, only to see Moth's name flash on the screen. With a grin, I accept the video call and hold the phone up to my face. Hey, listen, now's not a really good time to talk, but... Oh no, that's terrible. Get well soon, or sorry for your loss, or whatever. Anyway, listen. Guess who won an all-paid holiday trip overseas? Me, that's who. It had been a while since I'd last seen Moth's face, but they appeared just as boisterous as I remembered them. And for free, too. I mean, okay, yeah, I still need to pay for food and stuff, but... Hey, where are you? I'm in a manga store? Hold on, can we backtrack for a second? You got free tickets? To where? Is that a Haruka figurine? Can you get it for me, please? Please, 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 please. Moth. I'll pay you back, promise. I'll pay for shipping, too. It's so cute. Look at his whittle outfit. Look at his tiny little jacket and tiny little shoes. With an eye roll, I reach behind me for the figurine, but not before picking up the accessories I originally came in here for, and slowly make my way towards the cash register. Once Moth's hoots and hollers calm down, I gently try to coax them back onto the original topic. Oh, right, you asked where I'm going. Well, it's actually a surprise. Seriously? A good surprise. A good surprise, though. Hey, you're still in court. For a brief moment, their screen starts to lag and a loading symbol pops up. Moth? Because I'll be in almost... That okay with you? Their voice cuts in and out, giving an almost robotic effect before the screen eventually fades to black. With a heavy sigh, I end the call and shoot Moth a text to let them know they got disconnected yet again. But as I absent-mindedly look out the window, I notice the blurry outline of Ren's figure sitting on a bench outside, busying himself with what looked like a phone in his hands. Next. The cashier's voice pulls me away from my thoughts, and I quickly pay for my purchases, all while sparing not-so-secretive glances at Ren from beyond the shop window to make sure that he's still there. It was strange, but I couldn't help but hope I'd get a chance to catch up with him on my way out. I know it had been barely more than a few hours since I last saw Ren, but I still wanted to thank him for letting me stay at his place for the night. And for washing my clothes, cooking me breakfast, and driving me to work. The cashier pulls my attention away by handing me a bag and receipt, and I give them my thanks before making a beeline towards the exit. But he wasn't there. But just as the door swings open, I notice that Ren had already left. He was no longer on the beach where I last saw him, and I couldn't spot him on either end of the street either. It was like he was never there in the first place, and I almost find myself wondering if I had imagined the whole thing. I was starting to see him everywhere anyway, and it was beginning to come across as creepy. But Corlin Bay isn't that big of a coastal town in retrospect, so I'm sure we were bound to run into each other again sooner or later. I mean, I literally met Ren at my own workplace because we shared a few common interests in books. His just so happened to be about native flora. That kind of stuff wasn't something either of us could control, and I was more likely looking too deep into it. Still, it felt strange all the same. Oh well, there's no use dwelling over it. I don't have a stalker. Nothing's happening. Nobody came into my apartment in the middle of the night. I was bound to run into Ren again at some point, regardless of if I had a way to contact him or not. But I do? He gave me his phone number? It was beginning to get dark once I arrived back to my apartment complex, so I quickly usher my way up the staircase and onto my floor. But as I'm making the long trek up the stairs, I bump into someone lingering around the corner and almost end up tumbling down. Yikes. Whoa. Hey, watch it. Glancing up, I notice that it's the cashier from yesterday who is glaring daggers at me while I try to steady myself at the railing. That was Olivia, wasn't it? She makes no effort to help me, though she does move to the side in order to give me space at the top of the stairs. It's then when I take notice of the giant basket of laundry in her arms. It makes me wonder if she was actually going to carry it all the way to the laundromat by herself. Clearly, she was stronger than she looked. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Olivia cuts herself off once the severity of the situation finally sinks in, before she sucks in her cheek and lets out an exasperated chuckle. Seriously? What could she possibly find so funny about this situation? Of all the places. Staircase, really? Their boyfriend sure has a messed up sense of humor. What? No, it's nothing. Look, I didn't mean to knock you down the staircase like that. I've got a lot on my mind lately, and I wasn't looking where I was going. Hey, it happens. It most certainly didn't. But Olivia seemed to be having a rough day, so I wasn't going to make things worse by being rude to her. She already looked on edge for some reason, especially with how she kept sneaking glances over both of our shoulders. It was almost like she was looking for something, and I would have asked her about it if she didn't beat me to it. So, where is that boyfriend of yours anyway? Not lurking around the corner like a creepy psychopath, is he? Who? Seriously? Your boyfriend, the guy you visited the souvenir shop with the other day. Oh, Ren? He's not my boyfriend, we're just... I've never seen that man in my life. He's just a friend? For real? Friends don't look at each other that way. What? Are you seriously that dense? Whatever. I'm not even sure why I'm having this conversation with you. Forget it, I'm in a rush, so please move. Clearly done with the conversation, Olivia sidesteps me and starts to make her way down the stairwell. But she only manages to get a few feet away before she turns around once more. Resting her laundry basket on a hip, she looks up at me with an unreadable look. You live on this floor as well? Then it looks like we're going to be seeing each other more often. But just some neighborly advice, if you plan on bringing Ren around, keep it down. I'm not afraid to file a noise complaint, okay? And with that, she disappears around the corner. What do you think we're gonna do really loudly? What was that all about? Deciding it wasn't worth my time to mull it over, I slowly make my way towards my apartment. Not bothering to turn on the light, that's a decision. I toss my keys into the tray, shrug off my jacket, and unceremoniously drop myself onto the couch. Today had been a whirlwind of events and emotions, and the worst part of it was that it still hadn't ended yet. I still had an hour or so left before I consider any dinner plans, so I figured I might as well spend the evening winding down in the meantime. All too quickly, an idea pops into my head, and I reach over to grab my phone. Sure? Figuring it'd be best to catch up with someone instead of stewing in my apartment alone, I pull up my contacts list and idly scroll through it. Listen, I'm scared if I don't invite someone over, something's going to happen. Conan's number immediately captures my attention, being the nudist addition to my contacts, and sitting near the top of the list, before my curiosity begins to stray once more. Without so much as hesitating, I tap on that person's number and bring the phone closer to my ear. I don't even get to choose. Oh, I was gonna say, I don't even get to choose. Gee, if we had to guess who the game, heavy on the quotations, wanted me to choose, who do you think we should choose? I'll go along with his wishes. I don't remember scrolling all the way down to view his contact details. I'm sorry? Okay. Nevertheless, I find myself tapping on Ren's name and bringing the phone— I chose it myself, my dude. And bringing the phone closer to my ear. He picks up almost immediately, and I can practically feel the excitement Moe flowers expel from the screen and hit me in the face. And before I know it, Ren is agreeing to come over as soon as he can, so I quickly turn the lights back on, clean the place up a bit, and anticipate his arrival. What was up with the glitchiness? Barely 10 minutes pass before I hear a loud knocking at my front door. You don't have to knock that loud. Almost immediately, I leap to my feet and unlock it with a smile. Ren, hey, come on in. I looked to see about the new tattoo. I can't see it with this outfit. I see you're still wearing my hoodie, am I? I also brought out some takeout with me, if that's okay. I figured you hadn't had a chance to eat yet. Whoa, how'd you know? It's like you can read minds or something. Or something. Barely registering the look on his face, I gently coax Ren into my living room. He makes himself at home on my couch, and I bring a few utensils from my kitchen for the food he so kindly brought. Oh, by the way, were you at the manga store earlier today? I thought I saw you there. Yeah, I know you did. I mean, because I saw you as well. After I left. I noticed you through the window. Well, that seemed to confirm my thoughts about Ren sitting outside the store. Stabbing my fork into the food, I take a bite and let out a pleased hum from all the delicious flavors dancing on my tongue. Really? You should have said hi. I thought about it, but you seemed really focused on something. And then you got a call, so... yeah, that was my friend Moth. Oh, that reminds me, Ren. At that, his full attention is immediately on me, takeout long forgotten as the taller male moves in his seat to face me. I remember you saying that you like Attack on Giants too, right? I could introduce you guys. They're a die-hard fan for the anime, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Moth is the one who's interested? Almost shyly, he turns his head away and meekly scratches at his jaw. I don't mind, but I wasn't expecting Ren to be so hesitant, and I suddenly feel bad for springing this all onto him without considering how he might feel as well. Hey, no need to force yourself. If you don't want to, that's okay. I just thought it'd be nice to let them have someone else to talk to, you know? Moth has trouble making friends, and most of the time they're only talking to me. Yeah? It's too bad. He sends me a sad look coupled with a frown before returning to the plate of food before him. Although I was thinking about Moth, I really didn't want to force Ren into befriending someone if he didn't want to. Besides, maybe he has trouble forming friendships too. It was a little difficult trying to keep up with his sudden personality shifts, but at this point in our friendship, I was starting to get used to it. Deciding to lift the mood a little, I try to change the subject to something more lighthearted. So, the rats, huh? Really, Kit? That was the first thing you could think of? How was that any less awkward than what we were currently... Actually, I didn't want to say anything, but I think I saw one on my way up here. It probably made itself a home in that busted elevator shaft. Seriously? Wait, do you think you could come with me and explain it to my landlord? I swear Your landlord isn't doing anything about it? No, save me. No! I collapse onto the sofa with a dramatic sigh. I honestly don't know what they're doing, if I'm being honest. I've sent so many complaints, but haven't received a reply for any of them. Really? Have you considered just moving? Quite a few times, actually, but... I love... My neighbor is friendly. You could text her. I have no idea why I would stay here. The location is nice, maybe? It has its charms? I'm gonna go through each one of these and see what, like, the full explanation is before I go through with choosing one, because I don't know what any of these are. It's overwhelming at first, but I think the low rent and location are the only things stopping me from considering other places to live. That's a good one. This place has its charms. Once you look past the smashed windows and broken elevators, this place is actually really nice. Heck no. I'm not sure what I like. I figure this would only be a temporary thing, you know, until I got my bearings. I don't think that's me either. Like, if I'm going to find a place, I'm gonna find something that I like. And not just, here's a place because it's available. So I guess the location is nice. I see. Then it's not so bad here after all, right? I mean, as long as there's no creep trying to break in and steal all your laundry or something. You got a point there. I think I'd take the rats over a laundry-stealing intruder any day, but now that I think about it, who would want to break in just to steal dirty clothes? Isn't that really interesting? Somebody broke in, but they didn't steal anything because I looked everywhere, and I couldn't find anything that they stole. And yet, Ren's here now, and he's like, maybe they stole some clothes. Why would you think that? Well, I'm sure Ren only meant it as a joke. It was oddly specific. Yes. I just figured that's what normal creep behavior would be. You have a great sense of fashion, and I see your TV is still here, so... Yeah, I guess it would be difficult to lug that down a staircase. They probably should have asked the rats for help. Again with the rats? I couldn't help but laugh at his corny inside joke. Wait, since when did we have our own inside jokes? Like 5 minutes ago. Keep up. Now that I really thought about it, the banter I shared with Ren seemed very easygoing as of late, despite how serious the topics were supposed to be. I've been worrying all day about this supposed stalker, yet here I was, casually brushing it off as a carefree joke. Still, is everything alright in your neighborhood? I've heard about the murders going on recently. Well, no one I know has gone missing, so I suppose that's good, right? I won't lie though, it is kind of scary knowing there's a killer out there. Yeah, suppose so. But are you really okay with staying here alone? Doesn't that scare you? I'm sure I'll be fine. I've got my neighbor, Violet, and if it's really necessary, I'm sure I could stay with Leon for a while and... Say, you could always stay with me instead. I mean, you've already stayed the night at my place, so it wouldn't be a bother if you wanted to come over again. I'd honestly sleep better at night knowing you're safe. And I always carry a spare keycard with me anyway. If you'd like, you can hold on to it in case something... I appreciate the offer, Ren, but I can't accept that. It's fine. Besides, you said yourself that living here can get overwhelming. If this can help you in any way... I don't know. Keep it, just in case. I mean, you never know. What if that creep breaks into your apartment again? If that happens, you could come and stay with me this time. I could keep you safe, just like the first time you invited me over. The lobby is full of security, and they won't let anyone upstairs without proper clearance. Plus, I don't have rats. I won't lie, Ren's offer honestly was tempting, especially with no rats. The idea of having somewhere to go in case things got bad was a comforting thought, but something just didn't sit right with me. I know I've been spending a lot of time with Ren recently, but I still wasn't that familiar with him. And sure, maybe I did invite a total stranger over to my place on a whim, but I wasn't going to be swayed just because I felt indebted to Ren. Still, the offer really was tempting, and it wasn't like he was asking me to move in with him or anything. And now that I thought about it, Ren was the one giving me access to his home. It wasn't like I was the one in danger here. He was trusting me enough not to be some kind of crazed killer, much like the one on the news. I can't help but crack a small smile at the somewhat morbid thought, and Ren seems to take it as a positive sign. But before I can dwell on it any further, I watch as he leans over to reach into his back pocket and pulls out something that resembles a plastic card. Ren wastes no time handing it to me, and I take a moment to look it over. His address and unit number are neatly printed at the top, and some kind of obscure barcode is on the bottom. However, the apartment name and logo on the top right corner are what really captures my attention. Sunshine Hills. I almost forgot he lived in the nicer parts of Coraline Bay. They were known for their high-rise apartment. I've been to his apartment before. They were known for their high-rise apartments and fancy penthouses, so I'm sure Ren never had to worry about rat infestations or deadbeat landlords. Though, the more I thought about it, the more willing I was to accept his offer. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea after all. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of programmer could afford fancy marble flooring, but as always, Ren remained a mystery to me. If this opportunity meant getting to know him better, maybe it'd be worth it. Snapping out of my thoughts, I look up from the glossy plastic and focus my attention back to Ren. Seriously though, it wouldn't hurt to keep it. And it's a spare key card anyway. I can always get more. I already have a stack of them at home. How many do you have? They're real handy too. I can use them to lock up my office and bedroom without a physical key. But I always end up misplacing them all and... Sorry, Kit, am I rambling again? Well, I don't want you to worry or anything. Really interesting, by the way. I can use them to lock up my office and bedroom without a physical key. Because that's one thing that I was really, surprised about when we went over to his apartment, is that he was like, yeah, just, go for it. Whatever. That he didn't have any secret rooms. So isn't that a interesting little note that, oh, he's always losing his keys, and they just so happen to also be able to lock up his office and bedroom, whoa, that's crazy unfortunate. Damn. Can't believe that. Did I read this part? You never know what might happen. I've seen what's been on the news lately, and I just want you to be safe. He wants me to be safe? Where have I heard that before? Well, I suppose so. Great, then. He glances back at the plastic item in my hands with an expectant look, almost as if he was waiting for me to put it away. And when I carefully shove it into my pocket, Ren seems to visibly relax and lean back into his chair once more. And that settles it. Come by whenever you want. You don't even need to call. Thanks. Also, if you lock your office and bedroom, but you give me a key, can't I unlock them? I think I'll still call him in advance, or even shoot a text. As lovely as Ren's welcoming hospitality was, I wouldn't want to disrupt or intrude on anything. As if picking up on my sudden silence, he clears his throat, gestures towards the food on the table, and scoops up a giant forkful. Anyway, we should finish this before it gets cold. Oh, yeah, you're right. Deciding to ease the tension once more, I speak the first thing that comes to mind as I stab my fork into the container as well. You look like a hamster. Man, I don't know. You having fun? Despite having his cheeks stuffed full of food, Ren manages to send me a pleased look and an awkward thumbs up, which was a feat in itself considering how he was trying to hold his utensils at the same time. It's good. Real tasty. Want some? He offers some of his takeout to me, but I gently shove it back with a laugh. I think I'll pass. You're missing out. The casual banter continues throughout dinner, and soon enough all the containers were empty and our stomachs were full. I dim the lights and switch the TV on at some point to fill the silence between our conversations, and soon enough Ren and I find ourselves taking an interest in a movie that was currently playing. It was some unknown sappy rom-com that came out almost a decade ago, yet Ren didn't seem to mind all that much. I wasn't following the plot too keenly, but from what I could gather, the male lead just confessed his love for the main character in the back of their truck. To top it all off, it started raining as some slow melodic love song came on the radio. The two characters were all too happy to share a sweet kiss with each other in that romantic moment, but the tenderness soon gets cut short once the scene starts to travel down a more heated path. Great, love this for me. The kisses become more passionate, and before I know it, I'm watching the main character lean across the center console to sit in their lover's lap instead. Clearly, I wasn't expecting this to happen in what I falsely believed was a harmless rom-com, so I dared to glance in Ren's direction to gauge his reaction. Yet aside from the faint dusting of pink on his cheeks, the rest of him seems all too relaxed. There's an arm casually thrown over the back of the couch, while the rest of his body is slouched into the plushness of the seat. His lanky limbs are stretched out in front of him, while his thighs are spread out slightly, and the empty space between his legs. And the empty space between his legs was beginning to look inviting for some reason. Was it because of the movie? Before I can stop myself, I find my mind wandering. Let's keep watching the movie. What was I thinking? This movie was clearly messing with my head. Subtly, I slap my cheeks and focus my attention back to this TV screen. But every so often, my gaze flickers back to Ren to see if he was feeling just as awkward as I was throughout the scene, and it seems I was right. It's almost painful watching him awkwardly clear his throat a few times until his interest ultimately shifts towards my wall instead. I also feel the urge to look away once the couple starts to get even more handsy with each other, and when it starts to become too much to bear, I impulsively change the channel. Damn. A monotone voice droning on about the weather fills the silence, and I feel the couch move as Ren shifts in his seat. That was, yeah. They were really going at it, huh? Mm-hmm. Geez, I can't believe it's somehow even more awkward now. That's what I was thinking when it was like, change the channel or don't. If you change it, it's more awkward because you're like paying attention to the fact that like, whoa, man. You just gotta power through that scene. But just as I'm about to do something about it, Ren awkwardly clears his throat and moves to stand up. It's getting a bit late now, isn't it? I should probably start heading home soon. Oh, are you sure you can stay a bit longer? No, I really should go. Now that I think about it, you need to wake up early, don't you? Yeah, actually, but how did you know that? Oh, you seem like the early bird type. He doesn't seem to elaborate on that and instead starts to pack up his belongings and head towards the hallway. Deciding that was that, I walked Ren towards the front door with a soft smile on my face. Today had been a lot of fun thanks to him, and I was able to keep my mind off of the events that would ultimately transpire tomorrow. I was still unsure about Teo's intentions, but being with Ren helped me to understand that maybe it was wrong of me to judge others so quickly. At first, I thought Ren was just some shy guy with a stuttering problem, but over the course of a few days, I've learned there's more to him than just that. He had his moments of confidence, and it was endearing to watch him stand up for the things that he wanted. Perhaps I was being too harsh on Teo. Even he deserved a chance to redeem himself. Hold on, speaking of people. Haruko, please, 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 please. I think that's the only thing different. Yeah. I suppose I'll give him a chance tomorrow. Kit? Sorry. Crap, I really needed to stop spacing out like that. I asked if you wanted me to lock the door for you. It suddenly hit me like a ton of bricks. I was still standing in the hallway while Ren was already waiting for me at the door, so I quickly rushed over to him with a flushed expression. Sorry, I was just busy thinking. I can lock it. Thanks, though. You do that a lot. It's cute. I almost roll my eyes at his words as I lean against the front door and watch Ren awkwardly shuffle on my doormat. Thanks for today, and sorry for taking up so much of your time. Not at all. Thanks for coming over. Get home safe, okay? Ren's eyes seemed to light up the moment I voiced my concern over him. Yeah, okay. I will. You too. Or, I mean, you're already at home, so go to bed safe. Or sleep safe. Sleep well? What am I? I can't help but chuckle at his panicked state, and Ren seems to settle once he hears my laughter. Good night, Ren. Good night, Kit. I'll see you tomorrow. Will we? Probably. The sound of the door shutting drowns out the ending of his sentence. Oh, just kidding, I didn't hear it. Once I had nothing else left to do for the night, I get changed into some comfy pajamas and brush my teeth before settling into bed. The newest chapter of Always With You was going to drop in a few hours, and I figured I might as well stay up and read it before going to sleep. But my eyes were starting to get droopy, and all my mind could think about was the double date I had planned with Leon, Teo, and Eleanor tomorrow. Man, I sure hope everything will be fine. But I know worrying about it wasn't going to do me any favors, so I let my pent-up stress out by smacking my pillow to make it less lumpy. I read it wrong, but it's okay. Though the moment I unceremoniously flopped back down, I noticed the cold draft. Ooh, and the fact that my bedroom window was left wide open. Strange. I don't remember opening it earlier. With a groan, I get up from my bed and go to close it, but once I lock it shut, something moves from within the shadows and startles me. Squinting, I can barely make out the black mass moving through the gaps in the fire escape balcony. What was that? A person? It certainly wouldn't be strange for someone to take a cigarette break at this hour, but I couldn't smell any telltale signs of smoke. Maybe it was my landlord's cat out for a leisurely midnight stroll. That idea seemed more realistic in my mind. Yet despite my futile attempts at calming myself down, I still somehow find the willpower to go back to bed, rather than opening the window once more and taking another curious peek outside. I didn't have a death wish, nor did I have the stupidity of those cliché horror film characters. Yeah, I mean, you kind of do. But before I turn away, I double-check to make sure that the window is locked shut and the blinds are fully closed. I wasn't about to risk it. Happy with the precautions put in place, I make a hasty dive towards the warmth and safety of my bed. Snuggled deep within my blankets, I find it harder and harder to think about someone breaking in, and even more so with keeping my eyes open. Before I knew it, pink-colored sheep slowly filled my mind as I drifted away. Yeah. Okay. Can we talk about that? Because... hold on. Like, Ren was here. He could have left, immediately came in through my bedroom window. But why? When he was already here. What was that? I was under the assumption this entire time that it was Ren, but are we talking there's a literal stranger breaking into my apartment now? What reason would he have? I can't think of anything. Anyway, day 4. Rainbow bandages, a red tunnel, blue eyes. That's all I can seem to recall from my dream as the blaring bzz, bzz, bzz of my alarm pulls me from my slumber while I'm thinking about it. What's social media like? No, because why are planes so scary? I feel like it's going to rain soon, okay? Good morning, everyone. Let's make today another wonderful day. Ah, you make me so happy. I think, therefore I am. Looking for a man to send me money. Let's go. Oh, I was like, huh? Don't sleep in. No, I'm gonna be there, don't worry. Anyone want to keep me company later? Me. Hello, me. Loving the scenery in Corlin Bay. Interesting, because you're supposed to be on a work trip. Anyway. Almost groggily, I reach for my phone to turn it off and flop back into my bed. Curious, I glance at the screen to check the time, only to get blinded by the brightness of my wallpaper. Ugh. Wincing at the bright screen that practically flashbangs me, I crack open one eye to read the numbers on the screen. 9:05 a.m. Huh, so it wasn't too early then. I still had plenty of time to get ready for the day and possibly make some waffles for breakfast. The batter would expire soon anyway, and I didn't really feel like visiting the bakery this morning. With that plan in mind, I let out a sleepy groan and roll out of the bed. Muscle memory kicks in, and my immediate reaction is to open the blinds, oh no, for some much-needed sunshine. But when I glance at my windows, they were already pulled back. I went to bed with those closed. Listen. I don't mind if it's Ren in the middle of the night, so long as he keeps everything, like, he doesn't let me know, I guess. But now that I'm worried that it's not, because he was here last night. and he had no reason to come back in. Sunlight had been pouring into my room for who knows how long, and I didn't even notice. And when did I open them? I swear I closed the blinds last night. In fact, I was confident I did, because there was no way I'd be getting any sleep after finding out a potential stalker was creeping outside my window. Don't tell me someone broke in again. I try not to focus on the twang of dread slowly building up inside the pit of my stomach. I'm moving out. I am taking that key card. Please let me, game. I was about to get worked up again, and so early in the morning, too. This is not what I needed to start my day with. Deciding not to dwell on it for now. Why would anybody else be stalking me, though, besides Ren? Deciding not to dwell on it for now, I stand up and gradually work out the kinks in my body. No way was I going to let this ruin the outing I had planned with Teo, Eleanor, and Leon. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We're supposed to go to the aquarium today. With that in mind, I make a mental note to dress appropriately as I walk over to my closet. Absent-mindedly, I run my fingers across some of my clothes before pulling something edgy from the rack. Let's go. My usual style has never let me down before, so I decide to stick with the theme and wear something similar. I pick out a few more matching pieces and accessories before giving them all a cursory glance. I like how it remembers what you wore during the first day. That's nice, I don't have to continuously choose. Feeling satisfied with the items I chose, I nod in approval before heading to the bathroom to change. Because I'm not changing in that fucking bedroom. I doubt the hot water would work this early in the morning, so having a nice, refreshing shower was definitely out of the question. Well, not that it really mattered, I still needed to buy some more shampoo anyway, and... Oh? Strange. Please don't tell me anything else. Was my toothbrush holder always this solid black color? I could have sworn it was gray. Why would you do that? Picking it up from the shelf, I give it a once-over. The Haruko print was still there, yet it somehow felt heavier in my hands. I have two thoughts. Either one, why would you do this? Ren's being a freak and wanted it because it's mine, but then got me a new one. Because he didn't want me to know that he had stolen the one that I use. But why would you do that? What sort of importance would you have on a toothbrush holder? Second thought, there's something inside the toothbrush holder. But then again, I don't exactly go around meticulously measuring how heavy my items are in the first place. Geez, today seriously was a day of overthinking, huh? Well, whatever. Putting the holder back on the shelf, I focus my attention back on the reflection of myself in the mirror and give an appreciative nod. The outfit I chose looked perfect, and once I put everything on, I'm worried there's a camera in my toothbrush holder. So it just changed in front of it. All I'd have left to decide on is how I should style my hair. What should I do? I was gonna say I don't style my hair normally. What would we say? It's not quite short, not quite mid-length. Somewhere in between. I also have straight hair. An idea comes to mind, and I immediately set to work. It depends on the person, because some people think that mid-length is like shoulders, and some people think that mid-length is like middle of your back. I feel, you know what? I'm gonna say mid. Does it matter? What are we doing this for? An hour flies by, and I've somehow managed to get dressed, style my hair, and finish breakfast in record time. With nothing else left to do, I decide I might as well kill time in my entryway by picking out which shoes to wear. But just as I stop in front of the shoe rack, something near the front door catches my eye. Oh no. A letter? Odd. My door doesn't have a letterbox, so I usually have to visit the front desk to collect my mail. That is if Violet doesn't bring it up for me. So what was this doing here? Curiosity gets the better of me, and I find myself scooping up the letter and opening it. Inside was nothing more than a folded note written in red ink, and... Was that a lock of brown hair? That's not red ink, friend. That's not ink. What the... Did this belong to Leon? A chill runs down my spine once I realize what exactly this item is, and I hesitantly scan the rest of the note for answers. It simply read, "I think he might need a new lock as well, don't you think? And don't bother warning him about this. I'll know." Okay. But he's still alive. You just cut his hair in the middle of the night. Let's keep this between us, all right? It'll be our little secret. What the hell? Was this somehow tied to that loser who broke into my apartment a few days ago, or was it someone else entirely? Though admittedly, whoever this stalker was, they were honestly doing a pretty bad job at making their intentions clear. I mean, what exactly were they trying to accomplish by doing this? Did they want me to stay away from Leon as well, or just keep silent? What did they get out of blackmailing me like this? And why target Leon specifically? None of this made any sense. The only thing that I can think of is because I said yes to going to the aquarium, but I specifically didn't say anything about Leon. I just said that I was going. Because there was that one choice that's like, I'm only going to go if Leon's there, but I didn't say that. And now that I give it more thought, I still wasn't sure what they wanted from me either. Why go through all this trouble in the first place? It wasn't like I was doing anything wrong. Maybe moving back to the Bay wasn't a good idea after all. I mean, I left the hardships and turmoil of the city behind for a reason. I wanted fresh air, new faces, and a more easygoing lifestyle, things I'd never get in the city, and now it seems like history is only repeating itself once more. History is repeating itself? What happened when you were living in the city? I thought I could live my peace. Did I read that wrong? I thought I could live a peaceful life here with my new job and friends, and now I've somehow found myself in more trouble than I could ever ask for. And what's worse is that, after denying my own paranoia for so long, this was all it took to convince me that my potential intruder really was real after all. Crap, maybe Violet was right. I remember brushing off her concerns because the idea of a stalker seemed so far-fetched to me, especially given Corlin Bay's innocuous reputation, but now? Ugh. Admittedly, a big part of me wanted to see if Violet was still home, but another part of me kept me rooted in place. Would it be safe? What if the intruder was still lurking outside? Ack. Suddenly, my phone goes off and scares the living daylights out of me, so much so that I end up dropping it on the hardwood floor and clambering to pick it back up in a panic. Crap. With shaking hands, I forego looking for any dents and cracks in the screen, as I try to discern the reason for the noise instead. The letter T shows up where the caller ID should be, alongside a suggestive contact photo of someone's abs that I don't remember taking, which could only mean one thing. Teo. It takes a few failed attempts, but I somehow manage to press the answer button and respond with a shaky tone. Hello? Well, dang, doll, you sound like you just woke up. Not planning on sleeping in, are you? What? No, Good, because I'm outside your apartment right now. Your neighborhood looks like crap, by the way. Smells like it, too. Did you seriously call me just to make fun of where I live? I called to tell you to hurry up. Unless you want to walk to the aquarium. In fact, maybe I should just... Ah, dang it. Well, if it isn't Little Miss Priss, I'll buy her lonesome. Oops, she looks mad. Okay. Teo's voice practically oozes smugness as he taunts whoever he's talking to, most likely Violet, before I hear him adjust the phone and continue speaking. Oh wait, Dollface, hurry up, won't you? He hangs up before I can mutter out a response. But still, knowing that Teo is downstairs somehow gives me the confidence to leave the safety of my home. Is it safe? Are we sure that's what we want to call it? Though not before committing the state of my apartment to memory and triple-checking my lock. I have half a mind to quickly snap photos of everything to see if anything was touched in my absence, but I doubt I'd have enough time. Still, if my stalker does decide to come back again, I'd want to know. But now that I'm thinking about photos, this gives me the perfect opportunity to splurge on some security cameras. I've been needing them for quite some time now anyway. With all this talk of violent crimes, dead bodies, and murder happening on the news lately, and now this intruder, I figured it'd be better safe than sorry. So, deciding to let Teo suffer. Go to the aquarium, bitch. Even just for a little bit, at the hands of Violet, I pull out my phone to scroll through some home security bundles on sale as I make my way towards the lobby. Please don't do that, watch where you're going. Teo ended up being uncharacteristically quiet throughout the drive, and if I were being honest, I appreciated the silence. It was definitely odd not having our typical playful banter, but it also wasn't something I needed first thing in the morning. He also doesn't seem to be in the mood to be disturbed, given how he clenches the wheel with one hand, while the other supports his head against the window ledge, like some angsty teen. So I try to settle further into the admittedly comfy seat of his luxury car, and focus my attention on the scenery as it passes by. Now I'm worried that, like, every single side character and their reactions and stuff, like, what does any of it mean? Does he just want to be quiet, or did something happen? It isn't long before the aquarium comes into view as Teo looks around for a decent place to park. We must have picked a busy day to visit, considering the amount of cars parked both outside and in the reserved parking area, though Teo seemed to have somewhere in mind. I watch as he drives straight past a very clearly labeled no-go zone and pulls up into one of the empty spaces without so much as a reaction. He doesn't even wait for me to get out before he opens his door and walks to the front of the car, and not wanting to be left behind, I quickly follow suit. Teo? I was about to question whether he was allowed to park in the employee zone in the first place, but given how he shamelessly pulls down one of the warning signs and tosses it into a bush, I figured that was my answer. It doesn't take long before he's right by my side once more and ushers me towards the front entrance. I almost stumble over my feet as Teo pulls me along, but not before almost bowling him over as he abruptly stops in front of me. Look at that. Almost like a loyal dog, isn't he? Glancing in the direction he was pointing, I see Leon sitting on one of the benches as he absent-mindedly watches people go by. And once he catches sight of us, he immediately leaps to his feet and rushes over with a wave and a warm smile. Relief washes over me as I take in his relaxed and carefree disposition, and I never thought I'd be happy to hear Teo casually tease my friend with our usual playful banter. But seeing Leon, it meant that he was really safe after all, and I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief at the thought. Still, was it really okay for me to be out in public like this? Now that I think about it, I'd be spending the entire day with my childhood friend as well. I guess it would be fine. It's not like the note told me otherwise. I suppose it's my stalker's fault for not being more thorough with their passive-aggressive letter for me. Maybe if they were more... no, what was I thinking? And where did this sudden burst of foolhardiness come from? I'd have to start taking this seriously, otherwise... It's a good thing he doesn't bite. Teo's voice pulls me from my thoughts, and I sent him a playful eye roll in response. I doubt he takes any notice of it, though, since Leon's arrival takes up all of our attention. Heyo, you look good, sunfish. You're not so bad yourself, oarfish. Hello, I'm here too. Eleanor hasn't arrived yet? Scoffing at our playful dismissal, Teo cracks a joint in his neck and crosses his tattooed arms. However, he doesn't seem to stray from his spot, which meant that he still had an interest in our conversation. At his almost childlike reaction, Leon shoots his friend a cheeky, lopsided smile before continuing. I'm sure she's on her way. She said something about wanting to get her steps in our group chat. Isn't that why she didn't want Teo picking her up? And actually, I don't know if you realized, but you guys were 15 minutes early. Really? No thanks to Teo's speeding, I guess. And what about you? I'm guessing you had to walk all the way here, right? There's nothing wrong with getting a little bit of exercise in the morning. I'm sure Eleanor would agree. And I just got here, actually. Really? Because it looked like you were sitting on that bench for a while. I just sat down. Long enough to stretch your legs, huh? Okay, yeah, so maybe I did arrive half an hour early. But I was excited. It's been a while since I've been to the aquarium. Even longer since you've seen Dollface over here, I bet. Huh? Can you blame me? We've been separated for years. Now we're finally reunited again. It must be fate. No. Destiny. Playing along with Leon's dramatics, I lean against his side and clutch at the spot above my heart. It's written in the stars. You guys are genuinely so embarrassing. Hearing Teo huff once more, Leon and I both watch as he tries to distance himself by looking at the posters on the wall. No doubt feigning interest in it. It wasn't really It wasn't like Teo really cared much for marine life. All his world revolved around was wealth and luxury, giant tech companies, and probably starting fires. Yeah, definitely starting fires. Though, for a guy who spent most of his time in the shadow of his father's legacy, I had to hand it to him. Teo was seemingly more down to earth than other people I've met. He didn't have to spend time with us, but he did. And as much as he'd often joke about not wanting to affiliate himself with people outside of his tax bracket, Teo sure seemed to like hanging out with Jay, Leon, and me. I wonder, does he ever feel lonely? Before my thoughts can delve any further, I feel a gentle nudge at my side. Looking to my left, I see Leon peering at me with a curious expression. You know, I'm really glad you came, but I'm honestly also surprised you agreed to this. Surprised? What do you mean? Well, you know, was Ren okay with this? Ren? The guy we met at the pier the other day, he said something about being your boyfriend. Right. Yeah, sure, we'll go with it. Whether or not it was because I wanted to stake my claim over Ren, or because he confidently declared himself as my boyfriend a few days ago, I couldn't help but let it slip. But Leon seems to pick up on the hesitance laced within my words, given how he inquisitively tilts his head and sends me a reassuring smile. Is it still a new thing for you? I'm sure calling someone your boyfriend must take some time to get used to. Take things at your own pace. It was strange hearing this kind of advice from Leon, especially after practically lying to him, but I wasn't going to say anything. We've been friends for so long, yet the topic of dating had never seemed to come up between us, much less something more extreme like settling down or getting married. When did that come up? At that, I recall a fond memory from my youth. A younger version of ourselves greets me as they innocently play a game of pretend on the playground. I can see Leon in all his boyish charm as he promises to marry me from atop the slide, before he slides down it and runs to my side in glee. He seems all too happy to run circles around me while he shouts to the skies about protecting me from bad guys, yet something else was missing from the scene. Something I couldn't fully remember. What was it? As long as he's chill with this, yeah? I wouldn't want any misunderstandings to happen. Great, I'd been spacing out again. Not wanting to offend Leon with my silence, I try to make sense of his words before coming up with a sufficient response of my own. Yeah, he's fine with it. Probably. Besides, I only agreed to this outing because Eleanor genuinely seemed like she wanted to go. And it's not like this is a date anyway, so... Hey, don't sweat it, Kit. No need to explain yourself either. I get what you're saying. I'm sure Leon cuts himself off when he notices something behind me. And when I turn around to look, I see Eleanor running up to the group with a flushed expression on her face. But as she draws near, she clumsily trips on a stray piece of cobble and tumbles forward. Ah! Let's go! Without thinking, I lurch forward to close the gap between us, but Teo's muscular arm beats me to it. Almost effortlessly, he reaches out to catch her, almost like those cliché romance movies, except not at all because Teo was allergic to anything romantic. A fact that's emphasized by the look of pure disdain on his face as he pulls my coworker to her feet. Eleanor seems to be blissfully enjoying every moment of it, though, seeing as she practically clutches onto his bicep while looking up with wide, sparkling eyes. In fact, I doubt she even was aware of our presence with how she stays rooted in Teo's awkward embrace. Looks like she really fell for him, huh? You're as bad as Jay with those puns. He's rubbing off on me. Come on, let's go see if she's okay. As it turns out, Eleanor really was okay, being cradled inside the arms of Teo. But the moment only lasts until Leon and I rejoin the group with a knowing smile on our faces. Teo aptly chooses not to say anything, and out of solidarity, or perhaps future blackmail, neither do we. And soon enough, we all found ourselves waiting in line to buy admission tickets. Eleanor happily takes photos of us while Teo scrolls through his phone, and Leon stands beside me to look at all the colorful fish in the small tanks. This is all rather exciting, don't you think? Really? It's just fish. Come on, mate, show a bit more enthusiasm, yeah? If you love him that much, wait till you find out what's at the beach. I want to apologize in advance for him. No, it's fine. I'm sure Teo has other interests that excite him. Fish just aren't particularly one of them. Want to know what makes me excited? Leon and I both share a look before rolling our eyes. Breaking taillights and slashing tires. Thought you were gonna go a different direction with that. Okay. Wait. Slashing tires? Isn't that illegal? Probably. I'm just messing with you, princess. Loosen up a little. All too quickly, the light-hearted mood gets replaced with something serious as Leon's phone starts buzzing. Recognition flashes across my childhood friend's face as he looks at the screen before he awkwardly scratches at the back of his neck and points towards the entrance with his thumb. Sorry guys, give me a second. Without waiting for a response, Leon makes a beeline for the front door. After a few seconds, I see his figure emerge from outside the large windows, pacing back and forth on the sidewalk as he talks to someone on the phone. Judging by the solemn expression on his face, I can only guess that the call isn't a good one. I sure hope everything's alright. Too caught up in Leon's shift in demeanor, I barely notice how Eleanor's hand gently pushes Teo and I forward so they can speak to the clerk at the front desk. Broad, tattooed shoulders now block my view from the window, which causes me to shift my attention back to the present. But Teo doesn't seem to notice my lack of focus, or perhaps he just doesn't care, as he pulls out a black card from his wallet and leans over me to hand it to the woman behind the counter. He could have gone without the nonchalant, smug look on his face, but I wasn't about to say anything when he was literally about to pay for my admission fee. But before I could begrudgingly thank him, Eleanor's excited voice cuts me off. Oh, do you suppose there'll be shows today as well? I saw some advertised outside. Oh yeah? I wasn't paying much attention to them. I hope there'll be penguins. Perhaps Leon would enjoy them. And what about me? You? I don't suppose you like sharks. I can hear the clerk chime in with information on the latest hotspots and what shows were playing, but I shut it all down when I noticed Leon standing idly near the doorway, still sporting that concerned look on his face. Without missing a beat, I make my way over to his side and spare him an empathetic glance. I'm real sorry about that, Kit, but something's come up involving my mom at the hospital. Oh no, is everything okay? Yeah, no, my mom's fine. It's just some important paperwork I need to fill out on her behalf. You know, since Dad is working abroad and all. I'm so sorry, but I really gotta go. I'll try to come back as soon as I'm... Hey, don't sweat it, Leon. Focus on your mother first. I don't miss the way his entire demeanor softens at my concern. Leon looks as though he wants to say something serious, but holds himself back at the very last second. As if to compensate, I end up filling the silence instead. I'm sure I can survive third-wheeling Teo and Eleanor's date alone. Geez, I really owe you one. Actually, you know what? Here. Before I can refuse, Leon shoves a stack of small bills into my palm and closes his hands around it. You don't have to. Besides, Teo already paid for everything just now. Nah, I won't be hearing anything from you. If you won't accept it, then spend it all on something for me instead, yeah? Go to town in the souvenir shop. See if they have any sunfish merch in there. Alright. Thank you, Leon. No worries, Darl. But I really gotta go now, though. I'll tell Mum you said hi. Leon turns on his heel before I have a chance to respond, so he completely misses me waving him off. In his rush, he almost knocks someone over, but he quickly helps them regain their footing and apologizes before speeding off once more. Man, I sure hope everything's okay with his mother. But before I can dwell on it any longer, the sweet melody of Eleanor's laughter pulls me from my thoughts, and I turn back towards the group. I notice that Teo and Eleanor are now standing by the entrance, which also happened to double as a massive underwater tunnel, all while pointing to a school of fish swimming over their heads. When Eleanor notices my presence, she happily waves me over before her attention shifts towards the door behind me, no doubt expecting to see Leon walk back in and join us. It made sense considering how they missed his departure, but she snaps out of her curious gaze the moment Teo brushes a hand against her back to move her out of the way of a family passing by. But what truly shocks me is that he doesn't seem to move his hand. Instead, Teo leaves it there as he steps closer and blocks my coworker from my view. I hope this happens, y'all. I'm really hoping. I'm trying to push them together so much. He meets my gaze with an intense and readable expression, and I can't help but look away. What was that all about? Suddenly, the moment felt too personal for my liking, almost as if I shouldn't be looking at something so intimate. Turning away, I decided to channel my interest into picking out a roadmap from the brochure stand instead. If Teo and Eleanor are planning on getting cozy with each other, I needed to plan my escape route. But before I move away, I noticed a lone aquarium tank off to the side. It was far enough from the eyes of the people still waiting in the queue, but still close enough to the entrance to entice any passersby to come in and take a look. Inside were countless amounts of colorful fish, coral, and other sea crustaceans, and I couldn't help but look in awe of some of the bright marine life as they float about in the water. If only Leon could join us. I could almost hear his laughter at some of the sunfish-like creatures that swim by. Keeping the rest of the group in sight, I stray slightly to the right for a better vantage point. A group of neon tetras fish zip by. Whatever. And my eyes follow them as they swim around. They easily stand out against the bright orange and green corals, and especially the pink and blue. Wait. Pink and blue? Who would have guessed? Peering closer to the glass, I catch sight of a familiar face on the other side of the tank. Oh no, I had no idea he was going to be here. Ren doesn't seem to notice me yet, seemingly far too entranced by the brightly colored creatures as they swim by. His soft eyes follow some of the smaller fish as they dart across the tank, before swapping over to the group of guppies swimming past. Suddenly, our eyes meet the moment the fish split up, and I watch as Ren's expression morphs from surprise into a sickeningly sweet look. He tries to say something, but his words come out inaudible due to the glass separating us. As if realizing, Ren instead points to one of the fish off to the side, before resting his hand on the glass and mouthing something else. I still can't fully understand what he's trying to say, that is until my eyes land on what he's pointing at. Catching me off guard, I watch in awe as a lone fish swims between us and captures both of our attention. Was that an angelfish? The fond memory from our time at the pier comes to mind, and I find myself thinking back to when Ren affectionately gave me the nickname. And had I known any better, I would have assumed he was thinking about the same thing, given the way his eyes crinkle and soften as the fish's scales shimmer underneath the artificial light. Too absorbed in how picturesque this all looked. What happened to the top of my screen? I completely miss Ren's swift departure. That is, until he is rounding the corner of the fish tank and taking his place by my side. This used to always say day 4, and now it's just... They took away my social media. No. My phone. That's so sad. Okay. Hi, Kit. Oh, there it is. Maybe it was just because I was in a CG. No, because why are planes so scary? I feel like it's going to rain soon. Don't sleep in, you're not even here. Okay. Oh, hey you. Fancy meeting you here. The first thing I notice is how Ren is tugging at his sleeve again, although he doesn't seem to shy away from my close proximity, nor seem to mind it as much. Those fish were pretty neat, huh? Yeah. I couldn't take my eyes off them. Hey, did you spot the angelfish swimming by? The what? Clownfish? I did. It was great. It was, huh? I couldn't stop looking as well. Yeah, I didn't even know they could be that color. Actually, this might sound cheesy, but nope. After you mentioned the angelfish, it reminded me of our date by the pier, remember? How could I forget? It's one of my most treasured memories. Top 3, in fact. Not wanting to let this opportunity pass, I decided to tease Ren a bit. Oh, please, top 3? Don't laugh. If you get to be cheesy, why can't I? Well, in that case, if you get to give me a cheesy nickname like Angelfish, why can't I? Oh boy. You want to give me a nickname? Come on, it's only fair. Though to be honest, I don't really know any pink-colored fish. Dang it. Oh yeah? That's too bad. Don't think you can get away that easily, Buttercup. I'll think of something better. Eventually. 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 At that, Ren lets out a puff of laughter before returning his attention to the tank once more. He doesn't seem to stray from my side, though, and it's then I realize, what was he doing at the aquarium in the first place? Without missing a beat, I take a step closer and voice my thoughts. You know, I wasn't expecting to run into you here. Oh, really? Yeah, no offense, but you don't really seem like an aquarium guy. Is that so? I didn't have any plans for today, so I figured I'd do a bit of under-the-sea sightseeing to pass the time. Plus, I finished the book you recommended the other week, the one about the underwater city. I guess it inspired me to come here. Really? Yeah, definitely not because I'm here or anything. Did you like it? What'd you think about it? I enjoyed it, especially the part where... Oh, say, look at that. I don't think you read that book, bud. Ren isn't shy about how he leans over my shoulder to point at something outside my peripheral vision. I follow his finger, and between the driftwood and coral, I spot Eleanor and Teo standing awfully close together. I don't miss the way Teo sizes up Ren, even from a distance, before he tears his gaze away from us with an inaudible scoff. A surprised sound escapes the back of my throat as I watch Teo unabashedly run a hand down my coworker's side, but what truly shocks me is the way Eleanor boldly grabs his arm and loops her hand around it. No way. That's, wow. I honestly didn't know she had it in her. And while her confidence shocked me, it also sparked about a curiosity inside of me as well. Even though we all established that this wasn't an actual date, Eleanor still wanted to treat like one? But now that I think about it, isn't this similar to the date I shared with Ren at the pier as well? The next thing I know, I find my mind wandering to all the times I held Ren's hand as we walked down the boardwalk. And right now, it looked all too tempting with how it was casually resting against the glass. I could easily fit my palm in his... the palm of my hand in his, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind in the slightest if I were to reach out right now and... No, come on, Kit, what are you thinking? Although... Come to think of it, wasn't I the one who initiated most of the hand-holding during the moments we spent together? Maybe he'd be okay with it after all. Should I? What the hell? Bro, why the hell not? What am I doing? Before I can talk myself out of it, I reach out and slip my fingers against Ren's palm in the glass of the tank. His skin feels uncharacteristically coarse and rough against my own, but before I can question it, I brush against something cold and metallic instead. Daring a curious peek, I look down and notice a golden ring on one of his fingers. In fact, it appeared to look vaguely similar to the one around his neck. But as soon as I open my mouth to ask, Ren casually slips his fingers between my own to entwine them. He gives me a soft smile, almost as if he knew this was going to happen. Before Eleanor's voice pulls me back to the present. Kit, there you are. Why didn't you say anything earlier, Teo? Where'd pretty boy run off to? Princess over here said he had to leave earlier. Dang, if it isn't Buttercup. It's Ren, actually. Not this again. Before the two of them can have a chance to butt heads, I carefully step in and interrupt. Something came up at the hospital, so Leon had to go. Oh dear, I hope everything's okay. He assured me that everything's fine, so I wouldn't stress about it too much. I watch as Eleanor shuffles on her feet in contemplation before noticing the item still grasped carefully in her hands. That's a relief, but oh, what do you suppose we should do with his ticket then? Should I ask for a refund? It's fine, that's like loose change to me. I'll make it back in 45 seconds. Still, we shouldn't let it go to waste. Oh, I know! Eleanor's expression shifts from revelation to something more cheeky as she turns to me with a small, knowing grin. She leans close enough to whisper, but doesn't seem all that quiet about it. Here. Why don't we give the ticket to your lover boy? Lover boy, you gotta be joking. Should I tell you all about how our lovely Kit has a secret admirer, and how he often rents out their books from the Eleanor. I feel like I'm missing some context here. Almost hastily, I snatch the ticket from Eleanor's hands, usher Ren inside the tunnel, away from my gossipy coworker and Teo's smug grin. I hardly notice the time passing with all the fun I'm having, and before I know it, almost 2 hours go by in a blur. I'd initially been so fixated on being a third wheel that I completely forgot about the exciting things people could do at the aquarium, like see fish. Eleanor seemed all too happy to snap pictures of everything, ranging from Ren and I petting some stingrays, Teo getting splashed by a seal, and all the giant sea creatures that swam around in the overhead tanks. By the time I noticed my feet starting to hurt, we'd all made it to the small food court conveniently placed at the end of the main attractions. Eleanor used this as an opportunity to use the restroom, while Teo wandered off to who knows where, so Ren and I were left to look for a place for all of us to sit down and rest. But we didn't get far before the light sounds of footsteps drew closer once more. Kit, Ren, there you are. Sorry for the wait, I ran into Teo earlier while he was talking to one of the tour guides. He's a friend, and I wanted to talk to him. You didn't need to wait for me. Oh, but you said you were lost and needed help with something urgent. Come on, princess, no need to act coy. Surely people say the same thing to you at the library, right? Well, yes, I suppose they do, but I don't see what that has to do with me waiting for you. Or acting coy, for that matter. You're adorable when you're clueless. Anyway, are either of you hungry yet? It's past noon, and I'm worried Teo won't put his pride aside and admit he's hungry. Excuse me? Oh, am I wrong? I could have sworn I heard your stomach growling earlier. Now who's acting coy? First of all, when did they reunite without me noticing? And secondly, was Teo embarrassed? There was no way I was going to let this opportunity pass. Aw, is the big baby hungry? Didn't eat breakfast this morning, did you? I did. Unlike you, I can afford to eat whenever I want. Though it came out blunt and harsh, I knew Teo was only joking. Then why don't I go and get us all something to eat? Any preferences? Allergies I should be made aware of? And why do you care, princess? You plotting to kill me or something? It's only natural to worry about the health of others. I wouldn't want to give you something you're allergic to. Besides, everyone deserves to be cared for. You're weird. What was that? I said wasabi. I'm allergic to wasabi. Wasabi, huh? I see. And what about you lot? Any preferences? Do you think they have any scones? I've been really having a bad craving for it recently. Interesting. I wonder why. Then in that case, I'll have a... Before I can voice my preferences, Teo cuts me off by pulling out his wallet and handing it to my coworker. Eleanor takes it from him without complaint, but pairs it with a curious look and a slight tilt of their head. Get whatever. I need to have a word with Dollface over here, okay? I don't get the chance to fully respond before Teo directs me towards the opening of the food court, but I barely get 3 steps away before I feel a gentle tug at my sleeve. Curious, I glance back, only to find Ren sporting a pout on his soft features. Relax, Buttercup, you'll get them back in one piece. Now that I think about it, it was kind of out of the blue for Teo to be acting like this. I mean, since when did he ever want to talk about something serious? With that revelation in mind, I offer Ren a reassuring look and give his arm a comforting squeeze. I'm sure it will only be a few minutes. Oh. His eyes flicker between me and Teo a few times before it lands on my hand still resting on his arm, and he lets out an inaudible sigh. Okay, I'll wait for you here. No, stay where the princess can see you, unless you want her to freak out and think we ditched. Her name is Eleanor, you know. Wow, amazing. Whatever, come on, let's go. Without another word, Teo nudges me in the right direction, leaving Ren all alone and confused. Following closely behind, Teo leads me to a quiet corner near the food court, before turning around and boxing me in with his large arms. Excuse me? He casually leans his weight to one side before finally speaking. Hey, so I've got this fun idea. Seriously, I thought you wanted to talk about something urgent. Dang, could you be a little less loud about it? And as a matter of fact, yes, I do. No, you always say I've got an idea and it turns out to be something illegal like trespassing or vandalism. Isn't that the whole point of an idea? He was not serious. We are not about to discuss the logistics behind... Look, it's serious. I need you to help me make Ellie jealous, or whatever. Ellie or whatever jealous. She's getting a bit too clingy for my taste, and it might even get Buttercup to ease up on all that juvenile puppy love crap. You seriously don't think he's being too clingy? He's practically glued himself to your side the entire day. Don't you think that's kind of a roundabout idea? How would this even benefit? Trust me, this is for my own benefit, not yours. Little Miss Princess over there is treating me like I'm a dang child who needs to be supervised all the time, and I can't even tell if she's interested in me or not. Plus, you're not exactly... No, never mind. Either my idea works out and this gathering gets more interesting, or she realizes I'm not the type to be babied and backs off. What did that mean? You're not exactly What word starts with J? I can't think of anything. I'm normally really good at figuring out what people are saying, or like cutting themselves off from saying. I don't know what this one is. While I had to jump through hoops and hurdles to understand it, Teo did have a point, but everything about his idea still felt wrong. Regardless of if I agree or not, if Eleanor saw us flirting, wouldn't she just assume that you're not interested in her at all? Besides, I'd never betray her like that. Who said anything about flirting? Crap, you really are into me, aren't you? Can't say I'm flattered, doll. Excuse me? All I was gonna do was ignore her for a bit, make them think you're more entertaining or something. I mean, it almost worked with that tour guide from earlier. But if you want to cling to my arm too, by all means, gorgeous, go ahead. You're so insufferable. So is it a yes or a no? I still don't know what you want me to do exactly. Teo's gaze shifts to something behind me before a light ignites in his eyes as he sends me a sly smirk. Oh boy. Just follow my lead. I barely have any time to process his words before Teo places a hand on the small of my back and pulls me closer to his side. His voice is louder than usual, and it's then that I notice Eleanor and Ren slowly coming into view. Tss. See that storeroom over there? It looks like it's unlocked. Wanna go check it out? What are you? Come on, doll. You're really not interested in having a bit of fun? Loosen up a little. All of a sudden, I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket, but just as I move to pull it out, Teo gives me a pointed look and I find myself stalling. No. At that, he peers at me with a bored expression before rolling his eyes. Don't be like that. Come on, Teo, this is a stupid idea. Stupid? You're joking. Look, as much as I want to help you out, I don't really think this is going to accomplish, well, anything. Besides, it doesn't seem fair to Eleanor either. Is that what you really think? Fine, whatever. I should have asked Buttercup to help me instead. That would have been funny. Got anything else to add? If not, let's head back. Without another word, Teo drops his hand and walks away, leaving me to trail behind. Also, just in general, no, I don't want to be in a storeroom with you. There you two are. Enjoy your little chat? Sure. Is everything alright? Just peachy. Teo shoots a wry glance in my direction as if to say, see, I told you so, but I brush it off with a sigh. Teo? Kit? While Eleanor shuffles awkwardly on the balls of her feet, Ren nudges my side and leans closer. Are you alright, Angel? Did Teo do anything to you? No, that's what he's annoyed about. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. You sure? Because if he did, I'll fucking kill him. No, never mind. At that, Ren takes a step back and looks at my coworker with a bright smile. So, about that food. Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me, Ren. Here, I'm sure we'll all start to feel better again once we've had something to eat. I hope you like adobo as much as me. Adobo? Is that foreign? Why, yes. It's a dish that mainly features chicken and rice, which I figured would be beneficial for you, given your build, after all. Interested in my body, are you? No. Well, yes, technically, but only because I'm concerned about your dietary requirements. You look like the type of person who takes care of their health. And my sister, Kiara, she was the one who introduced this dish to me while she was studying abroad. I really think you'll enjoy the taste. It's one of her top 10 favorite foods. Your sister again? Really? Sure, whatever you say, princess. Hand it over. With a groan, I knock my elbow against Teo's arm. Yet all it does is make him give me yet another one of those pointed looks. Anyway, here, Kit. I bought you the same thing as Ren. Hope that's okay with you. He was telling me all about how much you enjoy scones earlier. But before I can take the takeaway bag from her grasp, Eleanor loops her arm in mine and tugs me away from the group. Oh boy. There's a cheeky grin on her face, which could only mean one thing. But first, what did you two have to talk about? And there it was. Once my gossipy coworker got started, there was no holding her back. Nothing important. Just Teo needed some help with something. Oh, is everything all right now? I watch as Eleanor peers over my shoulder to look at Teo, who was still within earshot. Does he still need help? I can go find another staff member if you... Forget it, this is starting to get real annoying now. Oh, Teo. Move. What was that for? Teo doesn't wait for a response, as he shoulders past Ren and makes his way towards one of the exits. Did I say something wrong? No, he's just a bitch. Perhaps I should go and apologize. No. You didn't do anything wrong. Here, I'll go talk to him. You stay here with Ren. Wait. You don't have to, Kit. Before I can follow after Teo, I feel someone tug at the sleeve of my jacket. Ren? You don't have to go after Teo, just leave him. Maybe you're right, but I know Teo better than everyone else here, and I know he's only going to sulk and be a pain about it for the next few days, okay? It's probably best if I do something about it now, otherwise we'll just suffer for it later. You guys really don't want to see a mopey Teo. Here, I'll come with you then. No, it's okay. You stay here and enjoy the rest of the day with Eleanor. Besides, didn't you two hit it off back at the library? I'm sure she won't mind, right, Elle? Oh, right. I do hope I didn't bore you to death with my talk about native flowers. What? I mean, no, not at all, but... Angel, did it really look like that to you? Because... Before Ren can finish his sentence, my eyes wander towards Teo's figure slipping through a crowd of people as he pulls out his phone. And before I realize it, my feet start to move on autopilot as I chase after him. I don't want to. Let him leave. He can be mopey. I don't care. Sorry, but I really need to... he's already gone. I'll be back. Promise. Now leaving the two of them behind, I make my way towards the opening of the food court, and through the seemingly endless maze of fish tanks. Why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this. Pushing open the heaven doors? Damn, I died. To the back entrance, I aimlessly peer around the hallway and search for my grumpy, and perhaps even childish, friend. My instincts tell me to head towards the hustle and bustle of the main street, but as I round the corner, I bump into someone's chest. Hey. Whoa, sorry. Guess I wasn't looking where... Wait, Kit? Leon, what are you doing here? I was just about to go after Teo. It might be best to let him cool off a bit, yeah? I just saw him sulk off in that direction. Plus, he seemed kind of off in the group chat. Yeah, I figured he'd message you guys. Well, actually, he messaged Jay, who then messaged me, but he sent it to the wrong chat, so now here I am. I was on my way back from the hospital anyway. I figured I'd pop in and see what was up. Well, I guess now you know. Yeah, I suppose. But look, seeing as Jay's aware of everything now, maybe it's best to let him handle Teo, yeah? You think so? Leon gives me a non-committal shrug of his shoulders before gesturing for me to follow him. It might help diffuse the situation. I mean, Jay has known him since elementary school. If he's been able to put up with Teo for that long, then I'm sure he'll be better help than us. Maybe you're right. Still not convinced? If you still want to go talk to Teo, we can. I don't mind tagging along, and... No, it's just... I can't help but feel like this is all somehow my fault. I mean, I know it's not, but... You know how Teo can get, especially when he's told not to do something. Yeah, but I can't help but wonder if I could have been nicer about it, more kinder? I didn't think he'd react this way when I told him not to. I think this is what Teo needs. He doesn't show it, but he's always been coddled by everyone, even his parents. And all those people he hangs out with in the city, I can almost see where he gets his mindset from. Teo never used to be like this, you know, back when we were younger. But I guess this is what happens when you've been denied genuine attention for most of your life. He doesn't know how to handle someone telling him no whenever he does something crazy, but it's not entirely his fault. Aside from his questionable friends, Teo also grew up with distant parents. Whenever he wanted attention or affection from them, he'd often have to do something brash just to get their attention. Hold on, I'm hearing something. It is pouring rain outside. Anyway, but it never lasted long. They just throw money in his direction and eventually ignore him again. It's pretty sad, honestly. I think all he wants is for someone to actually acknowledge him for who he is, not how he acts. I'm sure you've noticed it, right? Everyone wants to use him for his money, looks, and popularity. I doubt he's got any real friends, you know, aside from us. Oh, and Jay, of course. Outside of our friend group, I doubt Teo surrounds himself with genuine, good-hearted people. I bet his mates from the city don't even have his best interests at heart. But mushy rant aside, I'm glad you were able to get to be his voice of reason. After everything he's been through, he needs someone like you. Someone who will stop him from doing things he'll regret later, and to keep him in line whenever he says something insensitive. A true friend. Wow. I honestly didn't know that about Teo. Or that Leon thought of me that way. I didn't even know how to respond. Though I guess I didn't need to, considering how Leon continued to talk. But enough about him. Jay's on his way back from the city now, so we should leave Mr. Moody to him. Besides, with a grin, Leon tosses an arm over my shoulder and pulls me onto the street. I want to spend some time with you. I think it's long overdue, yeah? I mean, I never even got to go on that aquarium gate with you guys. Oh no, how dreadful. It is truly a heartbreaking thought. I don't think I'll be able to go on. My heart yearns to be by your side, but alas, 'twas not meant to be. Alright, let's go, theater kid. What gave it away? With a playful eye roll, I nudge my childhood friend with my hip to get him moving again. But what takes me by surprise is how he casually grabs my hand in his and leads me down the street. We're just leaving them at the aquarium? This almost feels like old times, back when we used to run hand in hand towards our favorite playground after school. I wonder, was Leon thinking the same thing as me? But when I glance upwards to check, I instead take notice of the destination my companion was leading me towards. After all, the massive umbrella made it hard to miss. A soft smile pulls at my features from the nostalgic sight before me, and I give Leon's hand a gentle squeeze to let him know about my excitement. I can feel him do the same to my hand in return, which only makes my grin grow even wider. An ice cream stand, huh? Yeah, it's been a while since we've visited one of these, hasn't it? Why am I here? That's true. I wonder if they still sell all those wacky flavors. Did you just call my favorite flavor wacky? I can't believe it. Why, I would never. Oh, really? Do you even remember what it is? Duh, it's... mint chocolate chip. You're pulling my leg. Wait, it's not? I swear I've seen you eat it before. Nah, I only ate it because one of our old classmates didn't like ice cream. I didn't want her to feel bad about wasting food. But that's not the point, because now it's your turn. Huh? My turn? Oh, are you gonna guess my favorite flavor now? Of course I am, it's only fair. And also because I remember your favorite flavor too. Is that so? I mean, as long as it hasn't changed over the years. No, it's still the same. Then there was no way he was going to guess it correctly. But now that I think about it, what is my favorite ice cream flavor? I should probably have one in mind before he guesses. I get to write it in. Ooh, exciting. Get ready for this answer. Whoa. But just as I think of my answer, Leon speaks it into existence with a knowing, toothy grin. The ringing of his laughter drowns out the ending of his response, but I heard him clear as day. How did you... Sunfish, I think it's time I told you. I'm a mind reader. Whoa. What number am I thinking of right now? 4? No, 60. 4.60? What? That's such a specific number. Yeah, well, that's how much we owe this fine gentleman. With a smile, he gestures towards the person who served us ice cream. Not wanting to make the people in line wait any longer, I fish out the loose change Leon gave me earlier and pay for our desserts. Seemingly satisfied, we make our way down the footpath, to find somewhere to sit and eat. Again, I feel bad for leaving Ren and Eleanor just by themselves, but okay. Eventually, Leon... The only thing that I can think of is this scene where I, like, rejected Teo. If I were to instead wait for one of them to, like, notice me, maybe this wouldn't have happened, but that's such a specific thing. I don't know. Eventually, Leon leads me to a nearby park, where we plop down on one of the benches and kick up our feet. We spend a long while just chatting and catching each other up on all the things that happened in our lives during our time apart, and soon enough all of our ice cream is gone and the sun was slowly beginning to set. A comfortable silence blankets the both of us, as Leon casually throws his arms behind his head and closes his eyes. He seems at peace like this, almost as if the stress of his day-to-day life had been stripped away. But even with Leon's eyes closed, I couldn't help but feel like someone, or something, was watching me. An eerie feeling washes over me, and I cast a hesitant glance over my shoulder to spot anything out of place. Nothing but the gentle rush of foliage and the wind greets me, and yet I still couldn't seem to shake off the lingering feeling of something hiding behind one of the bushes. What if it was just as I was finally starting to relax and unwind again, I went and ruined it all by getting worked up once more. Quietly slapping my cheeks, I tried to expel those thoughts from my mind, but the sound I made must have been louder than it felt because Leon's golden eyes soon blink open to look in my direction. Sorry, I almost dozed off there. It's so peaceful out here I could probably fall asleep. Whoa, check that out. I follow Leon's finger towards the sky, only to notice ominous dark clouds rolling in from the distance. You're kidding. Was it seriously about to start raining again? But now that I look closer, do clouds normally get that dark? Even from afar, it almost looks like black smoke enveloping some of the taller buildings in the heart of Corlin Bay. It almost seemed unnatural. All too quickly, the soft timbre of Leon's voice cuts through my thoughts. As fun as today has been, we should probably start heading back before it starts pouring down buckets, yeah? Here, I'll walk you home. He offers a hand to help me up from the bench, but just as I take it, I hear a twig snapping from somewhere behind me. But before I can react, the muted sound of thunder cuts me off. Thanks, Leon, but your place is in the opposite direction, isn't it? I wouldn't want to make you walk all the way back. That'll be fine, I don't mind walking. What if it starts raining? A little rain never hurt anyone. Something tells me it won't be a little bit of rain. Actually, yeah, you might be right. Me? Being right? Could it be? What date is it? Is there a blue moon? Knock it off. But, hey, are you sure you don't want me to walk you home? I'm sure. Besides, I could use some alone time. The past few days have been hectic, to say the least. Yeah, well, so long as you don't stress yourself out or anything. If you need a vent, you know who to call. Teo? Okay, despite saying that I'd be perfectly fine walking home on my own, Leon ended up accompanying me to the entrance of my apartment complex before finally parting ways. It was nice, being able to catch up with him like this, and I genuinely find myself wondering if we could do it again in the future. But as I make my way towards the door, my eyes wander towards the small box sitting atop my doormat, okay? Panic flashes through me at the thought of it being another gift from my supposed stalker, but then I remember the purchase I made this morning. That must be my security cameras. Deftly picking it up, I put it under an arm as I fish for my keys in one of my pockets. But as I do so, I barely make out the sound of something behind me. Muffled footsteps echo from somewhere down the stairwell, indicating that someone was there, and that they were getting close. The thought alone sends a surge of panic through my body as I tense up. Was that... I desperately try to ignore the sudden dread of anxiety building up as my hand fumbles to unlock the door. Just a few more twists and clicks of my key before... I had a feeling Oh, he was saying something. I didn't think it was going to go past. Okay, so he says, Angel, I'm glad I caught you. Ren? Jeez, you almost gave me a heart attack. Huh? Oh, sorry. It's fine. What are you doing here? Stealing my nerves, I try to calm down my rapid heartbeat and meet Ren's gaze. There's a flicker of worry in his eyes, but it all fades away the moment he takes a step closer to me. I don't suppose you're missing something, are you? Huh? I tried to recount all the things I've been carrying around today, but when nothing of note comes to mind, Ren shoots me a bright smile and pulls something from behind his back. It was... Oh, my phone! And our food from earlier. I figured you didn't have dinner yet. I also added something extra in there as well. As if realizing how suspicious his words sounded, Ren's cheeks immediately flush a deep red as he backtracks and stutters out a response. Dessert. It's a dessert. I bought it on the way here. You don't have to eat it, though. Oh? Peering into the bag still being held tightly in Ren's grasp, I noticed the food, an adorable angelfish plushie, and... Was that a small cup of vanilla ice cream sitting on top? Wow, my favorite flavor. How did you know? Before I can snoop any further, it's a little bit boring being vanilla, you know, because like if I had said, I don't know, pistachio, that's specific. He really had to go somewhere to get pistachio flavored ice cream. But vanilla, he went to literally any store. He went to 7-Eleven, like... Before I can snoop any further, his soft voice interrupts my train of thoughts. Actually, your coworker seemed really worried about you too. She wanted to be the one to drop these off, but... something came up. Uh-huh. As for your phone, you left it near the storage closet. Here, oh. As if noticing my current predicament, Ren looks at my occupied arms before giving me another soft smile. It'd be nice to have more hands sometimes, huh? Need some help? It's fine, I think I got it. Just when I think my door is unlocked, I somehow lose my grip around the parcel in my hands. But luckily, Ren catches it just in time before handing it, and everything else, back to me. Say, that sure is heavy, huh? With how obvious Ren's gaze was, I could tell he wanted to ask what was inside it. Surely there wouldn't be anything wrong with telling him. Oh, I bought a security system this morning, because of how shady this neighborhood is. I figured it'd be a good idea to be safer than sorry. That creep didn't come back, did they? They did. Without thinking, I dropped my keys and slapped a hand over Ren's mouth before cautiously looking over my shoulder. What was I even doing? I was getting worked up and acting paranoid again. With an embarrassed look, I turned back to apologize to Ren, only to find his cheeks a deep red and a hand wrapped around my wrists. When did he... Quickly withdrawing my hand, I squeak out an apology before picking up my keys and turning back to my door. I still didn't want to get Ren involved with my problems, but I honestly didn't want to risk being alone tonight either. Too lost in my own world, I barely noticed Ren coming closer, nor his hand covering my keys to steady my fidgeting. Do you want some help? He must have seen the look of confusion on my face because he continues talking. Setting up your cameras, I mean, self-taught programmer, remember? I'm sure I can figure it all out. Plus it'd save you having to call someone to install them. He did have a point. And I'd honestly feel safer if I weren't alone tonight. Still, I'd been spending so much time with Ren lately, and I didn't want to get him fed up with me and my presence. Would it be a good idea? Yeah. I'm kind of scared, bro. Maybe it would be a good idea after all. Would you mind? I probably look pathetic with how I barely make any eye contact, instead choosing to stare at my door rather than Ren. But he doesn't seem to mind, or perhaps he simply chooses not to comment on it. I'd be happy to, Angel. With a smile, I open the door and let Ren inside. I want to check my social media. I feel like it's going to rain soon. You were right. Looking for a man to send me. Nope, nothing new. Damn. You know, I think we have the same mirror. Oh? Putting the small talk aside for a moment, I usher the pink-haired person into my living room and situate ourselves on the couch. Ren wastes no time in opening my package, placing all the bits and pieces on the table, and setting off to work, though every so often he'd sneak a peek in my direction whenever he thinks I'm not looking. Did he want something? Raising a brow, I send him a silent question. I don't mean to pry into your personal life, but, you know, you're always welcome to stay at my apartment. Ren, I've seen where you live. I doubt I could afford rent. You could stay for free. I don't mind at all. And I'm more than capable of covering your cost. I'd make a really good roommate, too. I always clean up after myself, and I wouldn't mind doing the same for you as well. Though only if you'd be fine with it, though. And I can cook as well. Laundry, cleaning, repairing things around the house, yard work. I can do it all for you, really. You have a yard? Man, they really can fit a lot in those upscale apartments, huh? Well, no, I don't, but I used to do the gardening and use the lawnmower a lot when I was younger. I'm sure I can figure it all out again. Not that I need to, though, like you said, no yard. No offense, Ren, but I can't imagine someone like you mowing grass. Was that your first job as a teen? Before that, actually. You mean as a child? Maybe a bit younger? Younger? I mean, just kidding. Yeah, it was my first job as a teenager. Anyway, the point is, I'd be happy to let you stay at my place. I don't even think a toddler can touch the handlebars of a lawnmower, my good bitch. I'm trying to imagine it. Well, I really appreciate the offer, Ren, but I gotta tough this one out on my own. Oh, if you say so. He goes quiet after that. Picking up the manual, Ren tries to busy himself with learning how to connect the cameras to my Wi-Fi, before tossing it aside and doing it his own way. Deciding not to get in the way, I curl up on the couch with my food and simply observe him. I won't lie, watching Ren's hands deftly connect cables and unscrew plates was kind of attractive, but I wasn't going to say anything. And soon enough, the events of the evening slowly draw out, as I start to feel the telltale signs of weariness take hold of me. I try my best to muffle my yawn, before I glance up at the clock on my wall to read the time, just past midnight. Dang, I hadn't even realized we'd been at this for so long. Tired? Ren's voice startles me, and I glance back to see that he already put down the cameras and was reclining in his seat to fully look at me. Kind of. It's been a long day. You can head to bed if you want. I'll set this all up and lock up once I'm done. You're still going to go home after this? You want me to stay? Did I? I said yes before. Strange. Perhaps it was because we'd been spending so much time together, but I'd somehow grown fond of Ren's presence. It was comforting to have him near, though I wasn't about to tell him that, so with an affirmative nod, I make the decision. Yeah, I do. Oh. Ren's grin practically reaches his ears as he laughs to himself. Okay, sure, no problem. I can't help but playfully roll my eyes at his enthusiasm. Well then, why don't I get some pillows and blankets and we can camp out here for the night? Just like a sleepover? Sure. His toothy grin reminds me of my childhood days, back when I'd beg all the adults to let some of my friends from school stay the night. With all of us wrapped up in padded blankets, I'd cuddle up on the couch with everyone until we'd all fall asleep. But it wasn't Leon who came to mind, it was someone else. Their face was blurry, but I could make out tufts of black hair from within the blankets surrounding us, and the same toothy grin Ren was giving me. But when I focus my attention back on him, I notice that the smile is gone, and he's instead looking at me with a confused look on his face. I must have been spacing out again. Sorry, I'll go get those pillows now. Let me know if you need any help. Ren's response gets drowned out as I flee into the hallway. It took a while, but Ren managed to set the cameras up and hook it all up to an app on my phone, all while I made myself comfortable on the couch. He explained how to use it, but if I were being honest, I started to nod off once he started geeking out about the different kinds of alarm buttons. Before I know it, my head falls onto his shoulder with a soft thump, and I can feel Ren's body shake as he lets out a faint laugh. Something moves from the chair next to him before a warm duvet is wrapped around my shoulders. I can feel Ren pull me to his side before we both fall backwards onto the couch. His chest softens the blow, and with one of his hands gently threading through my hair, I slowly start to drift off. Nostalgia greets me once more, and before my consciousness fades away, I try to chase after that foggy memory that had been plaguing my brain as of late. Those 3 kids laughing and playing together near a lake. Who were they? And who was the one that stayed right by my side even after everyone else went home? Almost desperately, I try to recall their face, or any of their defining features, really. At this point, I'd take anything. But it's all for naught when I feel Ren's lips fall to the crown of my head to place a chaste kiss. Sleep well, kid. With his comforting voice in my mind, I slowly start to slip away. Yippee! We'll hit yes to this. I don't know that I have any thoughts at the end of that. Interesting that I'm in bed now. But I feel like that was a good ending to the day. I feel like that day in particular was like, there's a lot of stuff going on that I'm like, well, why am I doing this? At least I got to say no to Teo, but like, why am I in that situation to begin with? Why did I go off after him? Why did I leave Ren and Eleanor at the aquarium? That feels like a bitchy move, to go and spend the day with Leon instead. But anyway, it's after 1 a.m. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this recording here for now. Let me save. Yep. Yeah, I do. I like the silly little notes that it keeps popping up with. I also found out that if I hit quit, yeah, to the main menu, you go to the main menu here, and then you hit load, and there's this little note right here that says, I can see you. I was like, oh, thanks. I see you too. So yeah, it's 1 a.m. I need to go to bed. I'm waking up early tomorrow, but we have one more day left in this demo. I'm feeling a little bit better about it. You know, before I felt rather neutral. I think now I'm starting to kind of like it a little bit. And I'm interested in seeing what the hell's going on with the stalker who I thought was Ren, but maybe now it's not because it doesn't quite make sense to me. But it could be both. It could be him and somebody else simultaneously. Anyway, I'm gonna go. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for the final day of the demo of 14 Days with You.